to see in politics.
If we get some common sense governance from both sides of the aisle, we can finally get Americans through the recession.
Not just Wall Street. Principles or politics? I'd rather have principles. I speak to the kids in the street. Well, I'm never going to lay down being conservative just as much as I'll never lay down being a proud African American.
I feel like a black Republic. Money I got coming in. Can't turn my back on the hood. I got love for them.
Oh, it is so good to be back with all of you all here on News Radio KDKA. Lenny McAllister here. And I say it only because my wife would want me to say it. I think my late mother, if she were still on this earth and not enjoying her heavenly reward, would want me to say it. And I think that my dad, even though he's not the type of dude that would say, brag, son, because he's never been that guy, but he would probably say it. Lenny McAllister, published author with Frederick Douglass Books and Simon & Schuster Distribution, joining you here for the next 4 hours on News Radio KDKA. I say that less to brag and more to start off by saying, what a week. And I know it's only day 5 of this book existing in the world officially, but holy cow, what a week. First and foremost, before I thank all of you that have already purchased the book, those of you that are going to buy the book, those of you that have already reached out to me about the book, the very, very first thing I have to do, I just got to say thank you to my family. Thank you to all 5 of my kids. Now, I'm going to say 5.5 because there's a special someone out there that I think is going to end up being one of my kids. But I got to say thank you to my wife, thank you to my kids, and thank you to my family, because this has been a process. And those of you that have been along the way with me, you know that 2026 has been a lot more than just about getting a Venn diagram of one, an American story, out there into the world. It's only been 3 months since my lovely wife graduated and won the Mendelian Award for Excellence in Biology. It's only been a month since my son, who earned a scholarship to study at Oxbridge and study at Cambridge in England for a couple of weeks, ended up doing that. It's only been, 3 months since, 2 months since the birth of my second grandchild and that lovely family that I have down there in Florida. It's only been, although it's been 5 years, but I mean, it hasn't been that long since my second son, who celebrated a birthday this week, launch week of this book, graduated from NYU with honors as an MLK scholar. So there's just been, and heck, another one of my kids ended up, he's starting a national organization for high schoolers. He was working on that this week. There's been 2026 has been, I've been telling people, I've lived 7 years in 7 months. And so without my family being the type of people that could be loving and kind and grounding and just wonderful people from Florida to Brooklyn and all points in between, this would not be viable. So thank you. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. This could not happen without you all. Some of them have done technical things to help the launch, so I thank them for that, but more so just being good family members. I mean, they could be blockheads. They could genuinely be blockheads. And when I'm going up and down, when I'm thinking about the challenges that come about for being on a small imprint. I mean, look, I am the 4th book ever released on Frederick Douglass Books. The first book released on Frederick Douglass Books, that imprint that's distributed by Simon & Schuster, is a reprint of a Frederick Douglass book, which, by the way, we all well know was printed in the 1800s. So does that count? Yes and no. So now we're talking about 3 books. The second book hit the New York Times bestseller list in July. Now, kudos to Terry Gioma. You heard her here on News Radio KDKA. She has a fascinating story as well, but she's been out there in the world doing her thing as a day trader and, going from associate principal to multimillionaire by way of day trading. I ain't that dude. I'm a guy from working class Penn Hills that graduated from college at age 30 and watched his gorgeous, lovely wife graduate from college with honors at 53 and watched his daughter graduate from grad school with honors and watched his son graduate from NYU with honors. I've been grinding in a different type of way. And it's no offense to Terry, and I love Terry. Terry has a fascinating story. Go buy The Risk Worth Taking. That's a fascinating story, also on Frederick Douglass Books. But our trajectories are different. And going through this week, just to list off some things. I don't know what you all caught. I've been on KDKA 4 different times this week, which is a blessing. I had a chance to talk to Larry about the book, talk to Marty about the book on launch day, which was Tuesday. So the book's only been out for 5 days. You know, the type of week that I've had, and again, yeah, the phone lines will be open, 866-391-1020. I'll have Drew Shafino on, hour number 2, which I appreciate him coming on because it also, again, the grounding aspect of being on the air with people you love and trust and you root for amid a week like this is really, really cool as well. And he has some fascinating things going on. So I get a chance to brag on him, be normal amid a week that is absolutely positively not normal. But that said, you know, this week with this book, I've realized today, it's taken me a couple days, but I realized today that the trajectory of this book is different than pretty much 98% of the books that are out there. If you look at the places that the book has been placed over the last week, particularly for PR, I started last Sunday with an article, an adaptation from one of the chapters in the New York Post. I had been on Newsmax, Meghan McCain's podcast, New York Post. I started launch day on Tuesday on the 2 radio stations that I had a radio show. WVON, the Talk of Chicago 1690, and News Radio KDKA. That's kind of cool. So I had that. XM Radio. America's Real America's Voice. I was on there twice. Wednesday night, a kid from working class Penn Hills, a scholarship kid at Central Catholic High School in Shadyside Academy, a college dropout from Davidson College that graduated with a grade point average from Davidson College back in 2002, was speaking at the Ronald Reagan Foundation and Presidential Library on Wednesday night for 40 minutes talking about a Venn diagram of one after getting a private tour of the Institute, the Ronald Reagan Institute in Washington, D.C. earlier in the day. On Thursday, I was on The Takeout with Major Garrett, CBS News. Friday, I was on MS Now, supposed to be the weeknight, but because God has a funny sense of humor, there was a power outage at the D.C. Bureau, so I couldn't be on the weeknight. I had to be on The Beat with Ari Melber and then do the remote for the segment, and hat tip to these people, at the Fairfield Inn in Bedford, Pennsylvania, in their dining room section at the last minute because there was no way to do it at the D.C. Bureau. I couldn't get home in time to do the hit via Zoom that way. So we pulled over at a Fairfield Inn in Bedford, Pennsylvania. You all have seen it. If you've ridden on the turnpike between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, going east, it's sitting right there before the next rest stop. I think it's exit 147. You look, you see, I think Sheetz is right in front of you. You make the left, Fairfield Inn's right there. Yeah, I did an MS Now hit from there, which has already gotten 60,000 views apparently from their dining room section. So I say all that. Tomorrow, I'm supposed to be on the Big K Morning Show, but soon after doing that, via phone probably, I'll be doing a podcast with the former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, on his podcast for 45 minutes, again talking about a Venn diagram of one. It's all humbling. But what hit me today is everything that I've been saying about what we need in civic life is how this book is going to play out. I want every single person out there listening to the sound of my voice to go buy a Venn diagram of one. But if you're expecting it to be a book that bashes Democrats or bashes Republicans or wags a finger at Black America or says that white people are racist, or if you're looking for the typical book, you're going to be very disappointed. I literally say in all of my radio shows, I've said it in my TV hits, and I said it in a Venn diagram of one. What I wrote the book for, what I try to be as a public figure is to be historic, not trendy. Not that I'm saying I'm, Mr. Muckety Muck, but the point is, we have too many people that are trying to be trendy and trying to be viral. I literally said this to Major Garrett, which, by the way, it's really cool because they featured 6 minutes of our interview during his national broadcast on Friday. But then the full interview is available for podcast. You can see the 23-minute interview that Major Garrett, the award-winning journalist, did with me on a Venn diagram of one. And one of the things I said to him was, I know what I'm doing is not necessarily going to go viral, but it still has value in America. I am trying to be historic, not trendy. I said the same thing to Melissa Geller, hat tip to her, from the Reagan Foundation when she interviewed me on Wednesday night. This book was written to try to inspire people to be historic, not trendy. Trendy has gotten us in trouble in America over the last 10 to 25 years. It's time to start doing things that will outlast our life, things that will be historic, things that people can build upon. The book is going to be that. Now, I'm not saying the book's going to sell 100,000 and be historic that way. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. That's up to you all, if you all buy the ebook, audiobook, or hardcover. But here's the thing with it, and I'm going to go to break, and then 866-391-1020. It's going to be a cathartic Sunday, I'm telling you that now. I have 1,000 different things going through my mind. I genuinely do. And you can help me go through that if you want. The thing about going through this process and trying to write the book the way I wrote the book, or writing the book the way I wrote the book's written, is when you're trying to do something against the grain that is trying to help people, heal the country, heal communities. There is a rub that is there that is going to take time to get through. We ask people to be courageous. I've asked you all to be courageous. I put myself out there. Those that are reading a Venn diagram of one understand the vulnerability of how I wrote the book. I am not a hero in that book. I am not some great person in that book. I show my flaws in the book. I show how other people pointed out my flaws in the book, including people very close to me. But the point of it is, and I said this in interviews, and I'm going to go to break, America truly is a second act country. And if you believe in that and you believe in our values, you can have the flaws, you can have the mistakes, and you can still do better. 866-391-1020. I know I gave Ryan a heart attack by going through my stop sign for about 4 minutes, so I'm going to break. I promise, Ryan, but I'm coming back afterwards here on News Radio, KDKA.
Now more than ever, we're the station you can trust for the information you need. KDKA.
Every time I've had CertaPro painters do work on my home, I really appreciate their professionalism. They make it worry-free, and it starts with a free estimate, all at the right price. And I love that each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. Hi, this is Larry Richard. It's the perfect time to reach out, get CertaPro painters to visit your home. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. You'll be so glad you did. Trust CertaPro Painters.
Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. Last week, Los Angeles was trading at 16%, meaning a $100 trade would pay out $590 if they take home the title. On Kalshi, as the probability changes, you adjust your position. Download the Kalshi app and use code UPDATE to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25. Kalshi, trade on anything. 18 plus only, must be present in state where it is legal to trade. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. Bonus credits do not expire. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. For more information, see Kalshi.com/regulatory.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? A man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $110 per month, level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. Call Term Busters for a quote, 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate for preferred non-tobacco rate class, exam required to qualify. For details, call 1-800-908-7636. Paid for by Robert Livinger, Insurance Agent.
August is Sandwich Month, and Easy Cater is celebrating with fresh deals every week from August 3rd through August 30th. Easy Cater makes workplace food ordering easy, leaving more time for important office debates like, is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco? From breakfast sandwiches and banh mi to turkey clubs and veggie wraps, every order of sandwiches for your team comes with a side of surprise rewards for you. And that's the best thing since sliced bread. New week, new deal, all August long. Visit easycater.com to place your next order. Restrictions apply. See offer details at easycater.com.
Hey, it's Brew. Between my radio show, filming content, editing videos, and trying to stay connected with family, reliable Wi-Fi isn't really optional anymore. I just need it to work. And that's why I like that with Xfinity, you get the most reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi with the best equipment at one price for 5 years, guaranteed. No contracts or commitments. Plus, Xfinity makes getting connected simple with same-day Wi-Fi so you can get online in minutes. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Use of fiber or coaxial cable. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi. Xfinity. Imagine that.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Summer storms can spell disaster for your roof and more. At Home Genius Exteriors, we stop the damage before it starts. Call now during our summer savings event and get 50% off materials for your new roof. Plus, get no interest and no payments till 2027. Call Home Genius Exteriors at 855-UR-GENIUS to schedule your free roof and attic inspection. That's 855, the letter U, the letter R, Genius. Home Genius Exteriors, the genius choice in roofing. See website for details.
All right, let me go to these phone lines, 866-391-1020. I'm telling you, I can dive into some current events. I did do some current events on MS Now on Friday. It's always cool to get feedback from people because what ends up transpiring is I'll do the segment and then somebody will watch that normally watches a show and they'll be like, oh, I didn't expect you to be there. It's kind of funny. I got two of those. One from a former Pittsburgher that I've known since my days at St. Bart's University because she also went to St. Bart's University. Wonderful person. Very, very bright person. Somebody that, you meet certain people, you're just like, yeah, they're smarter than I am. Now, ironically, this individual has the same birthday as my wife, who is also smarter than I am. So it kind of was like, oh, it must be in the water on that birthday. That's it. During a commercial break, sitting at the Fairfield Inn, I look down and lo and behold, hey, I'm watching you on MS Now. Then I get a text on the way home from somebody that listens to News Radio KDK regularly. Hey, got a chance to see you on MS Now. Those are cool to be able to do because, and again, it goes back to what I was saying in the first segment. Then I'm going to go to the phones, 866-391-1020. It's very easy, and I'm vulnerable with all of you all, and this is why I was hat tipping my family at the beginning of the show. It's very easy to get caught up because of all the swirl of what's going on. I have a fantastic PR team. I'll say this, and then I'm going to go to break. Small imprint. Well, I'm going to go to the phones, and then I'm going to go to break. Small imprint. No marketing money. Told you, Frederick Douglass has really only released 3 books. 3 books that haven't been around since before 1900. The PR team that I have, hat tip to Carissa Hayes, Kelsey Merritt Roa, Grace O'Grady. You've heard me mention these names before. Thank you, Carissa. Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Linda. These folks have worked with everybody from Peter Jennings to both Obamas and Bush 43. So for them to want to work with me is it is very flattering. Now again, you know, I'm a different type of author. I'm a different type of guy. I'm a different type of public speaker. I am both somebody that doesn't look like the underdog, but is very, very much the underdog. Yeah, I went to Central Catholic, Shadyside Academy, St. Bart's University, and Davidson College. But if you look at the profiles of the people that went to those schools and then you look at my background, it's very easy to say, huh, you're a little different. And I am. I put a Facebook post out there. And I mentioned, and I'm gonna carry it to break. Ross, Mike the Millennial, others. I'm gonna get you after the break because I don't want to cut you all off. Others, 866-391-1020. And by the way, if you bought the book already, I need you to do two things. One, leave a review on Goodreads, on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble. Leave reviews of the book. That will catch attention. It will continue to catch attention as we're doing all these other media hits. So please do that, number one. Number two, ironically enough, Marty Griffin took the book, because I gave him a digital copy via PDF. He ran it through ChatGPT to get a review, to get ready for the interview. His response was, ChatGPT thinks this book is very good. How do we get it in front of Oprah? What I should have asked Marty to do is run it through ChatGPT and ask AI, what are the 5 comparable books that you compare this book to? Now, I did it myself. I know the answer. You all will sit there and be like, you'll roll your eyes if I tell you. So I'm not going to tell you. If you have an electronic copy, do it. You might not be able to do it with an ebook because I don't know what format ebooks comes in. But what I'm asking you to do, those of you that have the book, first of all, thank you. Second of all, those of you that don't have the book, please go buy the book. Ebook, audiobook, hardcover. A Venn diagram of one, an American story. You can get it online. If you get it online, ebook or audiobook, you get it immediately. It downloads immediately. People that I know that have been ordering the book through Barnes & Noble, if you can't get it in the stores, you can download it within, you can order it, you'll get it between 1 to 2 days. I will tell you that I just heard from the South Hills Village, Barnes & Noble, they will have the book in a couple of days, again. Going to break. Ross, Mike the Millennial, after news on News Radio KDKA.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Did you see that UFO last night?
Is it real or is it AI?
How about the aircraft carrier floating down the river?
Nowadays, it's tough to determine what's legit and what to believe.
I know it's true because it was all over my feed last night.
But when it comes to news, depend on Pittsburgh's original news source since 1920. The Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. The slate of Democratic presidential primaries ahead of the 2028 election will look a little different. Yesterday, the Democratic National Committee voted to have South Carolina's primary come first on the calendar. However, before all that, the party will have to contend with the midterms in just a few weeks. USA Today Washington bureau chief and author Susan Page spoke on ABC's This Week.
We see this broad dissatisfaction in the Democratic Party, and age is part of it. The age of the leadership priorities are part of it. There's a rising generation that feels that Democrats haven't fought hard enough and haven't fought on the right issues. And Gaza and support for Israel has become another really divisive issue in this party.
At least 6 people were killed this weekend in Indiana amid widespread severe weather. Officials in Hamilton County now say the floodwaters are beginning to recede. And Tropical Storm Lala continues to weaken after it made its close brush with Hawaii overnight. This is ABC News.
Brian Schlaba here from the Home Buyers of Pittsburgh. Born and raised right here. Since 2015, we've helped over 1,000 Pittsburgh homeowners sell their houses quickly and without the stress. No repairs, cleanouts, inspections, or appraisals. We give fast and fair cash offers, buy your home as is, and you choose the closing day. Visit homebuyersoftpittsburgh.com or call 412-500-9057. That's 412-500-9057.
Pittsburgh's local trusted homebuyer since 2015.
Your line just went down. Production stopped. A supervisor wants answers. And someone's digging through a binder for the maintenance history. Every one of those minutes costs money. And most of the time, that breakdown could have been prevented. That's where MaintainX comes in. MaintainX catches the failure before it happens. Preventive maintenance plans on every key asset to improve reliability. Work orders assigned and tracked right from your phone. Everyone from the floor to the front office is in the loop. Real-time dashboards give managers instant visibility into what's been completed, what's overdue, and where the bottlenecks are. No more guesswork. Just a smarter, faster maintenance operation. Companies on MaintainX have cut unplanned downtime by over 30% and saved thousands on parts and labor every year. See what it can do for your operation. Try MaintainX free at maintainx.com.
Enjoy the great summer savings at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, USDA Choice Boneless New York Strip Steaks, $9.99 a pound. In the produce department, Jumbo Cantaloupes are 2 for $4. In our deli, 8-piece rotisserie seasoned baked chickens, $7.99 each. Additional savings this week, selective varieties of Turkey Hill drinks or tea. Gallon jugs, 2 for $5.
It's happening now at Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Clouds will break for some sun at times this afternoon. We'll have a couple of heavy thunderstorms. It will be humid, a high of 81. Some of the storms could produce flooding downpours and locally damaging winds. Still a couple of showers and storms tonight, low 72. For AccuWeather, I'm Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, let me go to these phone lines because I don't want to have you all hanging on too long because, like I said, one of the things I did tell my lovely wife is, and she understands that, and she's a beautiful soul. She really, really is. And God bless her for going through this with me. But one of the things that she and I have talked about is the fact that I never get time to really process all this. We got home late on Friday. So again, Fairfield Inn, the most glamorous place that you can actually do an MS Now national television primetime 2-segment appearance, by the way. Go look for it. If you go on YouTube and look for Lenny McAllister, MS Now, I was on there with Chairman Steele. You will, and he called the book a great book, which I'm like, thank you, child of God, for doing that. But that said, you will recognize the artwork in the background because it's literally the artwork that you see at every Fairfield Inn where you go and get the buffet breakfast in the morning. When you look at it, you'll be like, wow, you literally did do this hit from a Fairfield Inn. Yes, I did. So that said, we got home Friday night. Saturday, I got a chance to catch up to a friend. He got a copy of the book. Another person from St. Bart's University got a chance to inscribe something in that book. And then I was here with the Jagoffs. I was here with John and Rachel last night. Up this morning, couple social media posts, and here I am with you all. It's beautiful in one regard, and it's a blessing in one regard, but in another regard, it's a lot. And you don't get a chance to sit there and say, let me reflect upon this blessing. It's funny, for those of you that read the book, I talk about inflection points, reflection points, and then a new direction. I've had a lot of inflection points, and I'm used to having the time to reflect. I haven't had a chance to do that yet, but I'll get there. 866-391-1020. Ross in Braddock, you're on KDKA.
Good afternoon. Do we have... Oh, I got the echo. I'll work through it. You hear me okay?
I can hear you, child of God. How are you?
Good. I went over to the Barnes & Noble it's closest to me.
Okay.
And ordered it.
Okay.
And I checked my voicemails before I came home Friday. I was doing a lot of running around on Friday. And I will take a little aside, being mindful that I was instructed this in 9th grade at St. Anselm's. Mr. Swatala, my classics teacher, he took me aside, chewed me out because I was being just conceited, just to cut through the long story. And after that chew out, he said, this is a Catholic school. I'll be obligated, to point this out to you, even though you're not Catholic. So I will take this moment to say I can only afford 2 backpacks, but I did what I could for school supplies, and I dropped them off at the Children's Museum Friday.
Okay.
And I didn't take an umbrella. I wore my brims, but because I had, a white bag with me. From Marshall's. I was able to put the brim in there, and I said, I got to get off this porch. Let's just go walk in the rain to the bus stop. And I said, it's been a long time since I walked in the rain. No umbrella, by myself, to a bus stop, which, I used to hang out on the north side a lot when I was associated with the Bidville Presbyterian Church, River Robinson. Now, backstory. You say current events. You're going to talk to Newt Gingrich tomorrow, right?
I am.
Ask him, and I think you will remember this, what he thought about Pittsburgh when he was... Now, I remember him last in Pittsburgh. He spoke at the He spoke at the University of Pittsburgh Student Union building. I remember because tickets were only $15. And I said, I can afford that out of my pocket because I was living in this building then, so I know it wasn't that long ago. But ask him what he thought about Pittsburgh. So before I left the store Friday, I sat down on that bench right outside and I started reading. I said, if I don't start it, I'll come home, put it aside, and blah, blah, blah. So, but I want to ask you one question.
Okay.
William Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you meet him?
I met William Wilson I met him in a Panera in South Charlotte in 2008 when I was a commentator on Fox Charlotte and CNN and writing for The Root, and he started up his William Wilson Clothier business. He's a Navy. Yep, he's an entrepreneur. He's a Navy vet. He used to work on a NASCAR crew pit that actually won some championships. Okay. So, yes, he's a very interesting guy, African-American veteran of the Navy.
Yeah, I saw NASCAR champion in the middle. Let me just real quick, Lenny has a distinct viewpoint based on a unique life history and a genuine empathy that's not based on or contingent upon party lines or association. He's the flower in the sidewalk. Like I said, I haven't gotten too far in, but I put 2 interesting bookmarks in it.
Okay. Well,
I got out of my files. The one time in my life, I never thought I'd be one of those, but I got to participate as a roller coaster enthusiast with an old radio station that's kind of still around. And let me see. Well, I went with a group with Bubba. I was the only black guy there that day. And I have the one good picture I took of him at a charity event. I did some charity work when they had those bars on
Ross, you're
down
going
on the Allen Gate.
to have to wrap it up because I have another person calling, a few other people calling. Go real quick, though.
I'm going to cherish this book, talk about it amongst my friends, and get the audio book from my nephew, who's 18. I think he will appreciate it.
Well, Ross, I appreciate it.
I'll catch you later.
Thank you, kind sir. And Ross, I appreciate that. I didn't mean to rush you. I know a couple other people calling in. And that is actually one of the things that when I did the Reagan Foundation event on Wednesday night, that interview, Melissa Giller said, this is a great read for 20-somethings. Kids in their teens and in their 20s, she specifically said, if you buy a book, buy one for yourself and buy one for somebody in the younger generations to read the book. So, Ross, I appreciate you doing that. And again, ebook and audiobook, it's available immediately. So thank you. 866-391-1020. Mike the Millennial, I got your email and I was extremely touched by it. You're on KDKA.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much, Lenny. And yeah, it was such a great book. And I read the whole thing. I read the book and I got the audio book. And I'll get a little bit of feedback in my headphones, so I don't know if Ryan could check on that. But you hear a little echo. Do you hear any echo?
I don't, but,
okay, now,
but Ross said it as
okay,
well.
Now it's
so
gone.
He's
Now it's gone. Okay, we're good. But hey, man, I read the whole thing. I read the book, got the audio book, and I actually followed along with you reading it. And that would be my recommendation to anyone who wants to get that book. Get the audio book because it's like you reading the book as a speech almost. And it was really, really cool. And I'm glad you got my email. I saw you at the Reagan Library. That was incredible too. And, let me just say, like, it was so, you really showed your vulnerability in it and about how you took care of your parents and what you went through with that and what you went through with meeting your wife and what she went through and how you helped her. And it was just like, it's a great book for anyone to read, any age. But I just want to congratulate you, man. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for being emotional. Thank you for being yourself. And one other thing I would say about it real quick, it's a Venn diagram of one. It's a powerful guide for anyone who knows that progress in life comes from embracing challenge, staying present, and showing up day after day with purpose. It's a blueprint. Your story, it's raw, real, and it's a wake-up call for anybody ready to stop drifting and start choosing how they live. It's a book for anyone ready to reclaim their power, challenge their limits, and show up fully for their life. And I think you really provided a great example for how to do that here. So, yeah, first of all.
Wow. I'm touched. I'm honored that you would say that. One, I'm honored that you would buy the book. Number two, I am glad that that is the way it touched you. And I hope that there are thousands of others that feel the same exact way as they engage and experience the book. I will say this, Mike, the people that have read the book, that have reached out to me, are saying similar things. But as you also well know, and I'll ask you this before I let you go, you can probably attest to the fact that based on how I wrote it, and you have the audiobook, how I read the book, that it's not like other books out there. If somebody's looking for it to sound like a Black Republican book, they're going to be disappointed. If somebody's looking for it to sound like a pundit's book, they're going to be disappointed. It's not it talks about certain things in politics and public policy and in culture, but it's not that. Did you get that feel after now reading and listening to the book?
Oh, absolutely. A couple of things I just wanted to touch on real quick. I loved when you talked about, first of all, policy-wise, the school-to-prison pipeline, security through empowerment. I think when you talk about that, people cannot be empowered unless they are secure in their own lives, secure in their families, secure in their jobs. And when you look at this school-to-prison pipeline, how do we avoid that? Well, there's a large, faction of the population of big business that doesn't want that to be avoided because, big prison is a business, and they want to figure out, well, how do we keep this thriving? How do we keep this going? You're trying to find the solution base through security, through empowerment, empowerment through security. I'm sorry, and I think that's so important because a lot of kids that end up, with recidivism, that end up in prison, they have no security, right? They have no opportunities to be successful. They're living in poverty, and you take that head on. It's a solution-based book, and we need more of that. But no, I also got that. I also got, how to empower yourself, how to be self-sufficient, but also give back, and the power of empathy, how you really stepped up in a really hard time and took care of your parents when they were both struggling so that your siblings could, go to college so they could be successful. Obviously, they also helped, but you stepped up in a big way. And that really came through in this book as well. And I don't mean to be so dramatic, but this is probably one of the 10 best, greatest books I have ever read in my life.
Wow.
Everyone needs to read this. It has that mesmerizing, captivating, amazing, majestic information. And if you're looking for a gift for your loved one, this book is the gift for your loved one. You need to gift them this book. It was just amazing, Lenny. And
Mike, I look, man, I appreciate your call. I appreciate your email and hearing. And I mean, talk about being vulnerable before I let you go. Then I got to go to break. Okay. This has been a whirlwind week. It's been a whirlwind week. It has been ups and downs and twists and turns. And again, I expected to be at MS Now on set with Chairman Steele, handing him his copy of his book that already has an inscription in it. And instead, I'm at a Fairfield Inn in Bedford, Pennsylvania, doing the hit from their dining room section, asking them, please turn on the music. You can hear the music on TV. So, I mean, it was that, but then it was also Major Garrett. I'm expecting a 5-minute interview. They kept the cameras rolling. We went for 23 minutes. That whole podcast is available. A 23-minute interview where the guy was genuinely fascinated with what he and I were talking about. It's all of those things are amazing in one regard. Speaking at the Reagan Foundation and at the Presidential Library, but then to get your feedback, Mike, I'm gonna be honest with you. As much as I'm honored to do those three things I just mentioned, your feedback is the type of thing that really resonates in the depths of my soul. So thank you for reading the book and having the willingness to share how it impacted you. I really mean that.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna let you go, but I'm gonna tell my friends about it. I'm going to take like an hour and just leave a bunch of good reviews on all the major sites, Amazon, Goodreads, all of them. And Lenny, just thank you for writing this because it is a blueprint and it's going to help a lot of people in the future, young and old. And I am just so humbled I got to, be a small part of it. It's a form of getting to know you over the past year, being a caller and getting to talk to you. And, genuinely thank you. Thank you for giving me a chance on, I know you read my email, but a chance on such a big platform like KDKA this past year. Just thank you for everything. And it's invaluable and it means a lot. So thank you, man.
Hey, Mike, God bless you. I appreciate you and thank you for the kind words. Let me go to break on that here on News Radio, KDKA.
When the weather turns bad, turn to us for the best news, weather, and traffic information from the KDKA Radio Storm Center. Presented by Duquesne Light Company. Larger than light. Online and on the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
I'm Bob Burke. founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
I'm Dan Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, millions of people called us for representation. Why? Because trust grows when you win. And we've won a lot. Over $30 billion and counting. When you call America's largest injury law firm, you're calling a family. You're calling an army, our army. You're calling somebody who will fight for you. Injured? Let our family fight for your family. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Morgan & Morgan, 603 Stanwyck Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania lawyer will handle Pennsylvania cases. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
You know what you want to do in retirement, but do you know how to get there? Tune in to the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors, Saturday afternoons at 1 to get answers to your retirement planning questions. Plan today so you can do the things you've always dreamt about doing in retirement. Listen Saturday afternoon at 1 to the Net Worth Financial Hour with Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors. Net Worth Advisors, LLC is a registered investment advisor.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
So like I said, Drew Shafino is coming up at the top of the hour. I'm going to talk to him for an hour. And I meant what I said. I'll continue to talk about a Venn diagram of one. I have to. Because this is, I go right back into the fray tomorrow. And I'll be in the fray until about Friday. And then maybe around Friday afternoon for about 8 hours, I'll be able to just kind of bring it down. And I'll talk more about what's transpired over the last couple of weeks after 3 o'clock. Phone lines will be open from 4 to 6. 866-391-1020. If you got the book, I'd love to get your feedback. I can't even tell you how grateful I am for the feedback that I've already gotten from folks, including Mike the Millennial. In fact, to Mike's point, what I did was, there's a Facebook post I put out there. I'll put it out on Twitter as well tomorrow or on X. And the question I asked, or what I posed was, who is this book for? I've gotten pictures I've gotten a picture from a judge that I've known for a long time. I've gotten pictures from African-American men, African-American women, white men. I got a picture of Cornel West with the book. I have pictures with me on Newsmax, Major Garrett, Reagan Library, and the like. And the reason why I put that social media post out there, I'll say this and I'm going to get to Drew. The reason why I did that, in fact, I got a picture with Drew holding the book. I'm holding his book, one of his books, because he's like, hoi polloi, multiple published author, not like me. Wonderful dude. Drew knows I love him. But I have a picture of Drew as well holding the book. And the reason why I did that, because I do want to illustrate that the book is not just your siloed book. It actually talks to breaking down echo chambers, breaking down silos, reuniting as a country. It's funny, there was an article that came out on The Hill where there's a political pundit / sociologist that's saying the gaps in America are now unbridgeable. I literally write from the opposite perspective in a Venn diagram of one. I'm literally saying, no, I've watched those gaps be bridged. I've been that bridge. As a college dropout, as a man that's remarried, as a guy that went through poverty as an adult. Everybody talks about their impoverished stories of, when I was 12, we were on food stamps and, we went through an eviction and did it. That's great. But if you go through that at 12 and then you're a multimillionaire by the time you're 26 and you're worth $75 million by the time you're 40 and you live a completely different life and then you write a book or you have a platform where you're waving your finger at poor people saying, I did it when I was 12. You can do it too. Yeah, you won a scratch off and won $25 million. You invested half of it into Apple when they first started up and you became worth $400 million. We're not the same. What I tried to do with the book is show that through, granted, I don't have a very common path. Not everybody does the things that I've done, but everybody has made mistakes. Everybody has been flawed. Everybody's had bumps on the road. What I wrote a Venn diagram of 1 for is to say, if you've been through that, you could still overcome. Life is full of second acts. Drew Shafino is living one heck of a second act right now. And his first act was amazing. This amazing athlete that played professional basketball. He's like the least of the percentages of kids that start out in grade school that go all the way. He did it. Around the world, no less. And yet his second act with this DrewShafino.com website is blowing up. Which is why I want to talk to him. One, because it is a sense of normalcy amid a very abnormal, uncommon week for me. But also, this dude is talented. This dude is catching fire. And I like seeing it. And for me, part of what I try to do as a child of God is try to help people that are trying to do the right thing and trying to embrace their talents. And particularly people that are going through second acts, because I can relate to that. Which is why amid this week, as crazy as it's been, day 5, day 6 of this book being out there, I wanted to have my buddy Drew on. So he's coming on after the break. Be kind to him. Listen in. He has a lot of good things to say. So we'll get to those after the news on News Radio KDKA.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
President of Point Park University, Chris Purcellus, and the mayor of Bradenton, Florida, Gene Brown.
I think it's an incredible opportunity for us to consider another location in Bradenton, Florida.
Genius. I love this. You're going to be forced to come to Pittsburgh more, Mayor. And Chris, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go to Florida more.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
For all station contest rules, go to kdkaradio.com/rules.
Why would a guy in financial services pick a fight with the financial industry? Because in many cases, the system they built works more for them than it does for you. Tune in for a new kind of retirement show with Greg Ayler. Now at a new time, Saturdays at 5 on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Pittsburgh's annual Little Italy Days, today through Sunday. Authentic Italian foods, entertainment from over 30 acts, the region's largest heritage festival. Little Italy Days in Bloomfield. Free admission. Learn more at littleitalydays.com.
Join Rob Pratt every Sunday at 11 a.m. for Black and Gold Sunday, presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer. Rob keeps you posted on Pittsburgh sports with 2 hours of exciting talk. That's Black and Gold Sunday, 11 to 1, presented each week by Coons Market.
The largest Jeep selection in Pittsburgh is at Monroeville Jeep. They have over 300 in stock, and you're going to pay less. And they're the highest rated Jeep dealer with 4.7 out of 5 stars. Make this the summer at Monroeville Chrysler Jeep.
Jeep's Jeep at Monroeville. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Covered by JP Roofing and Siding. Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company. Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
From ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. Democrats in Washington are calling for an investigation into conditions aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln, which is currently stationed in the Middle East. It hasn't come into port in more than 200 days, and reports of poor living conditions on board are growing. Military officials now say a, quote, small number of service members on that ship have been treated for mental health issues, but there's been no loss of life. Admiral Mike Mullen, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs, tells ABC's This Week it all goes back to the deteriorating situation in the region.
Those places where we normally would go for some rest and relaxation, they weren't usable. So the planning with respect to that, I think you had to adjust on the fly, and it became very, very difficult to find a place to do that. So basically, you end up staying at sea.
U.S. Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego, meanwhile, says it all harms confidence in the Department of Defense.
There's a deep, deep, deep mistrust of this leadership. The Secretary of Defense is absolutely not qualified to be leading the Department of Defense.
Meanwhile, two Israeli sources tell ABC News now that Jared Kushner will meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tomorrow to discuss Gaza and other regional issues. Well, it never made landfall in Hawaii, but Hurricane Lala got close enough to the Big Island to cause major damage. ABC's Melissa Adon is there.
Swollen rivers surging, at least one person dead.
This is a very serious storm.
The governor declaring a state of emergency and deploying 180 National Guardsmen across the islands. Airports in Hilo and Kona shut down. Ports and schools closed.
Lala has since been downgraded to a tropical storm. And leaders in Moscow now report Ukraine fired more than 200 missiles at the city overnight, marking the largest Ukrainian strike on the Russian capital since the beginning of that war. You're listening to ABC News.
When you're at my level, you even spell sales differently. S-A-I-L-E-S. Now, I've closed enough deals to know a couple things. Hustle takes breaks. Infrastructure doesn't. The best sales teams don't wake up wondering where pipeline will come from. It's always working, quietly, in the background. Sales AI is pipeline as infrastructure. Always on, like a power grid running under your reps. Start today at SAILES.com.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Clouds, a breaks of sunshine and humid this afternoon with a couple of drenching thunderstorms. Could produce some flooding downpours and damaging wind gusts, high 81. Still a couple of showers and thunderstorms around tonight, low 72. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
At Habitat for Humanity, we believe home is where you find peace, stability, and safety. But 1 in 3 people on Earth woke up today without a good home. Let's open the door to opportunity. Visit Habitat.org to learn more. That's Habitat.org.
All right, now before I go to this interview with my man Drew Shafino, I need you all to catch this weather report. We told you all that there's some strong weather coming through the region, so let me go do that now, then I'm going to catch up to Drew on the other side of this news report.
A tornado warning has been issued for Beaver County, effective until 3:30 p.m.
Now, like I said, and again, hour number 2, I will get back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. I do want to talk to my man, Drew Shafino, because he got a lot of really cool things going on. So here's the good news and the bad news, right? DrewShafino.com is blowing up. I told you all that was going to transpire first and foremost. Downside is he got mentioned on Pat McAfee's show. So this is probably the last time he's going to come on with me because he has bigger fish to fry, and he knows – Drew knows I'm kidding.
Yeah.
See, let me be clear with y'all. Drew knows I'm kidding. I know I'm kidding. I don't want none of y'all out there thinking that I'm being serious about that. Now, I am serious about Pat McAfee mentioning you, and I'm not shocked. And you and I talked that day when you sent me the clip, and I was like, kind of like, I'm not surprised, but this is cool. But it's indicative, Drew, and first, again, thanks for coming back on News Radio KDKA. It's indicative of how your website – in a short period of time, has really been catching fire. I was telling you on the way in here, a guy from Georgia knows about your website. He has family that still lives here, but he's telling him, like, yeah, I come to this Starbucks, I catch up with Drew. He's like, yeah, I've seen some of his website. Is he the dude that talks a lot about old school sports in Western Pennsylvania and other issues? Your reach is down in Georgia. This website didn't exist this time last year, did it?
No.
Tell me about what this has been like over the last couple of months, before we dig into the website some more. But tell me a little bit about this ride going from, I'm going to start this website up, get into my love of writing, to, holy crap, Pat McAfee gave me a shout-out on his show a couple of weeks ago.
No, it was about, I've been starting this for 3 months, so it's basically brand new. And when I first started, it was like a hobby. I didn't anticipate it blowing up like this. I was just doing it, featuring, old school athletes, because he's 2026 now. A lot of people don't really know about these old athletes. So I just want to, give people, knowledge of the past, the greatness. So I started the website, put a few articles out there. Then I saw the numbers started growing every day. It grew. Then kept on catching fire. The numbers kept going up. Then one day I got an inbox. Someone said, that's cool that Pat McAfee said your name on the show. I didn't think nothing of it. I said, that's cool. Nowadays it's like if you don't see videos, is it real?
Is it real? Yeah.
So I showed it. I'm like, it's cool if he said it. So I never really said nothing about it. So then 30 minutes later he sent me the clip. Then Pat McAfee said my name. So I was like, that was a pretty cool. That was pretty dope hearing Pat McAfee say your name on ESPN. And a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of people in general, my people on Facebook don't understand the magnitude of Pat McAfee saying your name. That's equivalent to like, Pat McAfee's the biggest guy in sports right now on ESPN. He's one of the biggest. So it's sort of like Jay-Z or Drake on a big platform. And
he's a mountaineer like you are, and that's one thing.
Yeah.
But he could have shouted you out as a mountaineer and not mentioned what you're doing as well. And other people didn't have to be aware of your website as well. But Drew, part of it is, and this is why I wanted to meet you in the first place a couple months ago, and we've been vibing ever since. It's the fact that it's all coming together. I mean, if the quality of what you were writing about, if taking those reflections back, the days gone past in Western Pennsylvania, and it's not just sports, because you talk about culture sometimes.
Yeah.
To be able to do that from your perspective and do it in a quality way, it seemed like it's all coming together. So to me, when McAfee mentioned you, it was less about, hey, that's kind of cool, you got mentioned on national television. You've been on national television.
Yeah.
What's the big deal with that? But the flip side of that is it's also what you've been doing and putting the content out there. So talk to us a little bit about how you've been approaching your craft now that this has been blowing up over the last 3 months, because it's gone from hobby to, oh crap, I'm on a really big platform right now, and people are paying attention to what I have to say. So now I have a greater responsibility to what I write and what I cover and why.
That's a really great responsibility, especially when people inbox you and they say they love the articles. They love how I'm writing the articles. It's very intriguing. So, when you're getting that, you don't want to just put out anything, just say I got content. You actually want to do and put great work out. So when I write an article, I make sure it's a great article. So, it's and it's not stressful though. It's just you want to put great work out. You want to put your best to it. Just like Pat McAfee ain't just mentioned my name. He mentioned he read an article, so he actually enjoyed the article. So he was basically giving me love on just not my name, just giving me love on the craft and the the work I'm doing right now. So that was an honor hearing him say he read my article and he enjoyed reading it.
I'm talking to Drew Shafino. Go to drewshafino.com. Check out what we're talking about. This website has been blowing up. I've had the honor of following Drew since he was, breaking ankles at Penn Hills High School back in the 90s. I'm an old head, so I was looking back at a young cat doing this. So to be able to see somebody doing their thing now in the second act has been amazing. Let's go to this for just a second. There got to be a lot of older athletes. I'm a man of a certain age, Drew.
Yeah.
Don't laugh at me because I got more grade than you. But that said, especially don't have these kids over here laughing at me because I'm going to kick them out of the studio. That said, I'm just kidding everybody. That said, you write about some people that were doing their things. Right now, one of the great features that Drew does is he has been featuring a lot of Fab 5 basketball players per year and the Fab 22 football players. You start looking at names that are being listed. I know that you and I had an opportunity to talk to Tom Tumbleton.
Yeah.
And I know he's going to be one of the people that you interview.
Yeah.
Seeing that 1990 list with Tom Tumbleton's name on it and a guy by the name of Curtis Martin also on that list. They both played at Pitt, the local products here. It has to be a different type of thing for you and for your audience to be reminded of the talent that's come out of this region. We oftentimes just kind of overlook it or brush it off, but you're bringing it back up to a new generation of Western Pennsylvanians and people in the region to say, do you remember that this dude came from here? Do you remember that this dude went to the league from here? Do you remember that this dude went for 40 at fill-in-the-blank college and led this team to a conference championship or whatever? That's different. What's that been like? One, you doing the research, but two, watching people respond to that.
I felt like, like I said, it's 2026 now, so these kids in high school and college wasn't even born. They wasn't even born when I was doing my thing. So sometimes it's like you got to let people remember. And like I said, you got to give people their flowers while they're still living. So I'm just giving people, I'm just honoring the past, especially I love the history. I love the guys before me. People always like, everything. So, we talk all the time. I know guys that played in the 60s, 70s, 80s, but any guy before me, I respect all the great guys before me. But like I said, people love reading because there's a lot of people don't know the history of the Whippy or the City League. So this is good putting that out there and people responding to me, inboxing me, telling me, like, I never knew that. So thank you for the information. Thank you for letting me know this happened.
No, but let's just be real, because I think some people, Drew, may think that you're just going back your time or maybe a couple of years prior to that. You've been doing features on how good City League basketball was in the 60s and the 70s. Yeah. So one of the things that I think that people that are going to follow drewshafino.com need to be aware of is the fact that you went from a guy that's just kind of blogging and writing to being more of a historian of this region.
Yeah.
Now, it's a little bit of a mix. A lot of it's a sports historian, which has a niche. We know that there's not a lot of people doing the sports history here as much as they used to. But it's also a cultural history.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. What would make you sit there and say, I'm going to go back to a time when my parents were in high school? That's not something that, our generation, maybe the 70s, maybe the 80s, you're taking it back even further. Talk a little bit about that thought process to do that and what that's been like for you.
You just got to, because it was a time when Pittsburgh, especially when we talk about basketball, Western PA, especially the City League of Pittsburgh, was probably one of the best basketball leagues in the country. So, like I said, I love giving people the history of the Western PA City League overall. Now we have the internet. Now, before when we was coming out, we didn't have that, so people didn't know what went on. But now you have that platform to showcase the history, giving people knowledge that they didn't know about back then.
No, I think that's amazing. So look, I'm going to go to break because there's a lot of stuff to the website to me.
Yeah.
Now I know that. Part of it is I know a lot of the people that you talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, either I grew up with them or I had a chance to follow their careers, and that's really cool. But when I come back, and again, if you want to chime in, I'll give you an opportunity. What I'm going to do is for a little bit, I'm going to open up the phone lines at 866-391-1020. Call in about something specific about drewshafino.com. If you talk about Trump, if you talk about the book, if you talk about politics, I'm going to have to push you to 4. But I do want to dig into some of what you've been doing, Drew, because there's an evolution that I've been able to see even in the short period of time that you and I have had a chance to know each other, and I think it's fascinating. And I think there's a space that's there, especially with the cutbacks that we've seen at the Post-Gazette and some of the people that used to do this when we were growing up don't do it anymore.
Yes.
And because of the way that journalism has switched. You know, even with what you're writing, you're taking a more responsible tone that a blogger might not do. I mean, if you wanted to do hot takes, and anybody that goes to drewshafino.com, you'll see he's not writing hot takes. You know, you're not sitting there trying to be like, you know, and this is why Perry's 1991 basketball team got cheated because the referee got paid off by. It's none of that crap. It digs into the history. It shows people's trajectory. It shows the arc. It does a little bit of, you know, where are they now? That a lot of us are curious about with some of these old athletes. Now, I will say this before I go to break. Watch me make him just put his head down and get embarrassed. I noticed you ain't do nothing on me. I did my thing back in the day. I wasn't all like Drew Shafino, but I played Division I sports. You didn't do an article on me and my baseball. What's up with that?
You showed me a picture. You was a Dwight Gooden. So
I showed you pictures, and yet you didn't do an article yet.
I got you, man.
Okay. You see how this works. I bring him on my radio show twice. Can't get no love.
I'm gonna show you love, man. I got you.
I told you a little bit of normalcy amongst the crazy week that I've had, but I'm enjoying having Drew here, and I'm going to have him here for the rest of the hour. But I got to go to break first here on News Radio KDKA.
Your source for official traffic information. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Hi, this is Les Botkin of Botkin Family Wealth Management. I've been in the financial planning industry for 22 years. Before that, I was a golf pro. And being a golf pro meant I was away a lot, which left my dear wife, Barb, home alone to do the extraordinary job of raising our 2 kids. I really had no idea how wonderful they were until they were all grown up. They are smart, respectful, and kind. My son Lester and daughter Sarah both work with me here at Botkin Family Wealth Management. They work hard and have a wonderful relationship with one another, with me, and with our many clients. I can't take any credit for how they turned out. That was all Barb. But I am thoroughly enjoying spending each day with them now. We work as a team for our clients and hope to get to meet you one of these days. Find out more at botkinfamilywealth.com. That's Botkin, B-O-T-K-I-N, botkinfamilywealth.com.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
The beautiful thing about being on camera is the fact that I think there are times you all can see the conversations that go on during the commercial break. And this actually leads into a very interesting item that I want to bring up on air with Drew. Again, I'm talking to Drew Shafino of drewshafino.com. By way of West Virginia, by way of professional basketball, by way of Penn Hills, because that's where all the best athletes came from in the 80s and the 90s, Penn Hills. And if you had any doubt about that, just go look at the record. Amen. Can I get a hallelujah? I'm sure they're all out there. They're all coming from Penn Hills. That said, one of the things that we were talking about, Drew, is the fact that a lot of these people that you're shouting out, these are folks that you played against.
Yeah.
These are folks that you might have dropped 30 on their head. And you might have done it on a very public platform. It might have been in a playoff game. Yeah. You might have dunked on a couple of these folks. And yet, there are competitors, as you well know, that still have a little bit of an angst towards people they played against. You're doing the exact opposite. You're shouting people out and saying, listen, and you're being vulnerable. These are things that some athletes do, some athletes don't. There's some athletes, if you say, how'd you feel playing against Joey? And they would be like, I used to bust Joey all the time. Man, don't talk to me about Joey. Do you see the numbers I put up against Joey? And then there are other people like what you're doing that are like, listen, I know I had some success against Joey, but man, Joey was tough. I could never go to my left against Joey because Joey would jump on my left. I could never get a layup off it. I had to score all my points behind the arc because Joey was not going to let me go to the lane because every time I went to the lane, the 2 times I went, he pinned me to the backboard. So I said, I ain't going to do that no more. I just had to, step back and hit threes on him. Not that would ever happen to you, but you get my point.
Yeah, I get your point, yeah.
You're giving people kudos that you don't have to give kudos to. Why did you decide to do that with this website? You could have just stuck to the sports history. You didn't have to shout out people you played against.
I just, like what you said, actually, when I do these articles and mention guys, some of these guys inbox me and say they appreciate me doing it because, like you said, I don't have to do it because, not to be arrogant or something like that. But
you play professionally.
I play professionally.
I'll say it.
Yeah.
You played professionally.
Yeah.
You did very well in your college career, and a lot of these guys did not get to that 1% of 1% that you did. So I'll say it, because if you say you may fear sounding arrogant, that's just true. That's not arrogance. It's just truth. Continue.
Yeah, just, basically like, I had my career was better than most of these guys. So they're like, hearing it from me sounds better than just a regular guy who didn't do nothing. So they really appreciate me because, like you said, I don't have to do this. Like when I wrote my book, I mentioned a lot of people in my book, and like you said, they even said I don't have to do what I'm doing. But I'm one of them guys. I show love to everybody. If I think you were good, I'm gonna give you love and tell you were good.
Why the historical perspective now? Because the first couple of books you wrote were more about your career, your experiences. This, in many regards, and I know some of you have Drew's books out there. They did well on Amazon and the like. But what you're doing now is a hard pivot from what you were writing about before. Was there a spark? Was there something that made you say, I'm going to do this differently, and here's why? Or was it just something that naturally came about?
Naturally, but when time goes on, people forget athletes, and I sit at home and read the paper and just read the comments on social media. Like they're forgetting this dude in '95 was really, he was for example, Aaron Gatton. I did an article on him from Wash High. He was a state champion in wrestler, state title in track, Division I football. Went to Penn State. That's now that's unheard of. So people nowadays don't understand how, because they wasn't living, they don't understand how good of an athlete he was. So I just want to tell everybody, like, this dude was the real deal. So I feel honored and I felt good about myself just presenting these guys out here in a positive way and letting people know how great they were.
So the more you do this, Drew, and again, go to drewshafino.com, check out what he's been doing. It's funny because he'll list where all the love is coming from once a week, top 10 places that are looking at his content. And it's spreading. It's not just what you would think, the city of Pittsburgh, maybe a couple of eastern suburbs, and that's it. There are times you got people from Georgia that are tuning in. West Virginia will pop up there often, etc. I guess my question to you, and you and I have talked about this, where does this go? Because if you couldn't conceptualize this being like this 6 months ago, and we're where we are now, what do you see this becoming? Because you're filling a role, you're talking to things that other people don't necessarily talk to, you're talking from a sports history perspective, you're talking from a Western Pennsylvania perspective, you're talking from an African-American perspective from time to time, and you're talking as one that was good in high school, college, and professionally. That's a very unique niche. Yeah. Where does this go from here, Drew? I mean, maybe you don't have the answer to it, but I'm curious. I'm sure people out there are curious as well.
Now, obviously, when you want to do something, since it's gaining traction, I do want to, I want it to grow. So now when you want it to grow, I want to start doing more digital, more sit-down one-on-one interviews, do documentary on players playing right now. I still want to cover, high school WPIAL football and basketball currently right now, interview players, coaches, like you said, having a sit-down on a one-on-one conversation. I just want to expand it. It's not even about sports. If people read my website, it's about business owners.
I've read it.
Culturally and stuff like that. So I just want this website to be, I even do crime, missing people, unsolved homicides. So
Going back to the 90s.
Yeah, going
again.
back to the 90s, though. So I want this to be like a regional media outlet, not just sports, but everything, cover everything.
Do you feel like, and we're going to go to break after this, but I want to ask you this question before we go to break. Do you feel as though people give you more of the raw, direct, vulnerable answer because you're Drew Shafino, because you've lived a certain life, versus like if, just some regular journalist asked a question of some of these folks from back in the day? Do you feel like you get a little bit more content, a little bit more detail, a little bit more vulnerability from the folks that you're doing more of these one-on-ones with because of what you've lived through?
Yeah, I think when I do these interviews, they respect where I came from. So I feel like they give me the real raw answers versus just a regular person who never played sports or anything like that. So when I'm doing these questions, them Q&As, I do feel like I get the real truthful, real raw answers from these people.
Let me ask one final question before we go to break. So your brother played in the NFL.
Yeah.
Your brother has to be following this website as well, I have to imagine.
Yeah.
He's noticing you writing about athletes, obviously, because he's following the website. Yeah. Are you allowed to share what his feedback has been on this? Because obviously as an NFL player that played in college and played in high school, he's also had this trajectory. He's had a lot of microphones stuck in his face as well, with people asking everything from the best of questions to ridiculous questions. Yeah. What's his feedback been like as a former athlete that's watching his brother do this as well?
No, he reads all my articles. He loves the article. He loves the flowers I'm giving. Then actually I did an article on my brother last week.
I remember.
A lot of times I was the basketball star. Everyone knew my name, but people kind of forget he was the one that got drafted in the NFL. He was a Division I basketball player also. He ran track. So I was a better basketball player, but he's the better athlete. And like you said, I became a great offensive player, basketball player, because of my brother. So I had to give him flowers on that. But my brother reads all the articles, and he enjoys reading them.
Dig that. Listen, I'm going to get back to Drew after the news. 866-391-1020. I'll try to get into a phone call or two. I got a lot of questions about the website because I could see where it's growing. I can see that it's going to fill its own unique niche. I told him that there are other writers coming from the region that have done their thing. Drew's not going to be like a Damon Young. Damon's been great with the books that he's written. Drew's hitting a different niche, and it's cool. I dig it, and I want to talk more about it, but I'm going to do that after the news, talking to Drew Shafino here on News Radio KDKA.
Tornado warning. The National Weather Service in Pittsburgh has issued a tornado warning for southwestern Butler County in west central Pennsylvania, northeastern Beaver County in western Pennsylvania, until 3:45 p.m. At 3:22 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 5 miles southwest of Zelienople, or near Moneka, moving east at 35 miles per hour. Hazard, tornado. Source, radar indicated rotation. Impact, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. Locations impacted include Cranberry, Seven Fields, Evans City, Mars, Nixon, and Callery. Move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a well-built building away from windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. Repeating, a tornado warning has been issued until 3:45 p.m. for the following counties in Pennsylvania: Beaver and Butler.
Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. Last week, Los Angeles was trading at 16%, meaning a $100 trade would pay out $590 if they take home the title. On Kalshi, as the probability changes, you adjust your position. Download the Kalshi app and use code UPDATE to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25. Kalshi, trade on anything. 18 plus only, must be present in state where it is legal to trade. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. Bonus credits do not expire. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. For more information, see Kalshi.com/regular. regulatory.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? A man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $110 per month, level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. Call Term Busters for a quote, 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate for preferred non-tobacco rate class, exam required to qualify. For details, call 1-800-908-7636. Paid for by Robert Livinger, Insurance Agent.
Ready to start thinking like Wall Street without leaving Main Street? Tune in Monday evenings at 7 for the Cranberry Wealth Retirement Show with Kelton Burgess. Right here on the Voice of Pittsburgh, 100.1 FM, AM 1020, KDKA.
At Habitat for Humanity, we believe home is where you find peace, stability, and safety. But 1 in 3 people on Earth woke up today without a good home. Let's open the door to opportunity. Visit Habitat.org to learn more. That's Habitat.org.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. Admiral Brad Cooper now says his visit to the USS Abraham Lincoln yesterday was awe-inspiring, adding that of the 11 active aircraft carriers in the Navy fleet, the Lincoln has among the lowest number of cases related to mental health. Even still, Democrats in Washington are calling for an investigation after reports of poor living conditions on that vessel. U.S. Senator Ruben Gallego speaking on ABC's This Week.
Right now, the aircraft carrier is going to undergo a lot of maintenance. You're going to have problems with retention once people get back and families start meeting again. They're going to say, like, do I want to stay in the Navy? You're going to have some of the most experienced men and women. They're going to take a lot of their technical skills and walk away.
The president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is going to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tomorrow, 2 Israeli sources tell ABC News. And nearly 200,000 people remain without power in Hawaii after a close brush with Hurricane Lala this weekend. It is now a tropical storm. This is ABC News.
Time to get that painting project done that you've been putting off by calling CertaPro Painters. Hi, this is Larry Richard. My first experience more than a decade ago started with a free estimate. They got that done quickly and left the place beautifully cleaned up after a great professional job. And each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. That makes all the difference in the world. You're talking to the owner. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this ad for your morning commute to wake you up, which could help your driving. Science says that stimulating the brain increases alertness. So here's a pop quiz. How many months have 28 days? What gets wetter as it dries? What has keys but can't open locks? If you don't want to hear the answers, turn off this Liberty Mutual ad now. 12 months, a towel, piano. Enjoy being fully alert.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Clouds will break for some sun at times this afternoon. We'll have a couple of heavy thunderstorms. It will be humid, a high of 81. Some of the storms could produce flooding downpours and locally damaging winds. Still a couple of showers and storms tonight, low 72. For AccuWeather, I'm Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, I'm talking to Drew Shafino. So, couple questions, kind sir. First question is this. What haven't you done with the website that you're planning on doing or you'd like to do? Whether it's the type of interviews you want to do. You mentioned documentary work and doing different clips like that because you have a lot of things, but you don't have a lot of video up there yet. Yeah. And I don't know if you have plans for that, but what are the things that as you look at this website and as you continue to catch a lot of attention, a lot of really good attention nationally, locally and nationally, I know you're doing more outlets here.
Yeah.
What are you looking to do next? What type of things do you want to do with DrewShafino.com?
With the website, I do want to we're in a different age, 2026. So a lot of things is visual, digital. So I do want to start doing one-on-one interviews, sit-down interviews, like a podcast type thing with the website. So I'm looking to do more video just to be seen and just people. Writing a Q&A is one thing. Actually seeing the person do the Q&A with, having a sit-down interview with them, I think it would be better, especially nowadays we live in that type of, people want to see the people on camera versus just reading it. It'd be better just to have it on camera. So I want to get more into the video.
So if you do that, I'm going to give you some free advice.
What's up?
You need to get a sponsor that has good food where you can go do the video at their spot with good food. They can be your sponsor and you always have good food on your video interviews. And then you could get people that would want to be videoed because there's good food there. You like my idea?
No, that's a great idea.
You see what you see?
I love to eat, so
y'all see why he hangs with me because I give him these.
Gave me the assist.
Yeah, you gonna dunk it? I know you're gonna dunk it. I ain't got to worry about it.
It's a great idea right there, though.
And the thing is this, and Drew will attest to this. We'll sit down and talk for like 3 to 4 hours. Yeah. He's a great conversationalist. So if you do it at a spot where you can get a good, I'm not telling you what sponsor to get. So businesses don't get mad at me. I'm not saying what sponsor to pick. Why don't you, I don't know, you might be familiar with this term. Why don't you recruit Drew Shafino and you're familiar with recruiting process, right?
Very familiar.
Okay, so this is a dude that knows how to be recruited. Recruit him and see what happens. Maybe you'll do a tour. I don't know. What did you get? 5 colleges to go to before you have to commit?
Now there's unlimited.
Oh, so maybe it is. Dude, we can't get you out of shape. If you go to unlimited restaurants, don't be coming to me. I don't want your loved ones saying, "Hey, he's gained like 50 pounds because he's going to all these different restaurants doing these shows." They'll blame me. I don't want that. I'm just saying.
But no, that's a great idea. The idea you just said though, that have a one-on-one interview at a maybe different location or same location, getting sponsored by a restaurant.
That would be cool. Yeah. So you want to do the video. The next question I wanted to ask you, because you're doing some of this on the website, but I have to imagine you're keeping more of this coming up. Who are the types of people that you haven't had a chance to interview yet that you'd love to? Because you're starting to cover a wide range of individuals. And it's cool because I'm watching some of the Q&As. I'm watching you do your reflection stories and the like. But if you sat there and said, hey, Len, I really would love to do 5 of these type of interviews or 5 of these type of individuals, again, who would they be? And I have a suggestion, but I'm going to ask you first, and I'm going to throw my suggestion out there.
I love to start, I'm into politics, so I love to start interviewing politicians. That'd be real good to see their vision on the, where of the area, what they want. But I love to start interviewing politicians.
Dig it. So I have a sports suggestion for you. I want to bounce this off you. And the reason why I can do this is I've also talked to this dude. We share coaching. We share a coaching tree as well. He has a tangential tie to St. Bart's University, so we'll claim him, if you will, just indirectly, but we'll claim him. But with the St. Bart's University tie, I know that you know people such as the McCoys, great basketball players out of Penn Hills. I'd love to see more women athletes on your website. And I know you're not intentionally forgetting. Because I know you.
Yeah.
You and I have talked. In fact, we got put together by way of Coach Missy McCoy. Yeah. So I get it. But, man, people fail to realize some of the ballers that come out here. Now, to this point, you all may say, well, if Drew wanted to write about female athletes, he'd already do it. This dude talks to me more about WNBA than most men that I've talked to about basketball. He literally, we were looking for we were looking to see if they had a game on in the commercial break here. So he's about that life. Ball is ball, right?
Yeah. But actually, no, one of my first interviews was, one of my first articles was about the Penn Hills women's team.
Penn Hills women's team,
Yeah, they won
exactly.
6-7 Whippeals in a row. So
they were a dynasty.
That's another thing. I do want to start featuring more women in the Whippeal City League.
Because there's a lot of...
It's ton, especially Pittsburgh, Western PA was known for girls basketball. So
exactly.
It's definitely, you got girls like Swing Cash.
Yep.
You got a lot of good girls who are great. Susie McConnell. You got Hall of Fame women who are from this area.
My favorite Davidson basketball player of all time is not Steph Curry. It's a woman by the name of Leah Uhernick, who played at Davidson, who was part of the Fab Five out of Freedom.
Okay.
She went through 4, and you're a former athlete, you can relate to this, 4 knee injuries in 5 years and kept coming back. I told her, I said, you're the toughest athlete I've ever met.
There,
I said, and you were going to be my favorite Davidson basketball player ever, and she still is, despite this dude that, did all these things in the NBA. Yeah. But that said, I know your heart for athletes regardless. Yeah. I'd love to see more women. And it's interesting that you would say that about the politicians. So I want to pivot back to that for just a second. Let's talk a little bit about how you step in both worlds. Because part of DrewShafino.com, everybody, the reason why I reached out to Drew is because he was writing about some cultural issues that I had a tie to. He wrote an article about how much black Pittsburghers make annually.
Yeah.
And it caught a lot of attention. And part of it was, and let's just be honest, Drew, it was like, wait a minute, ain't this the dude that played at West Virginia? What's he talking about, annual income stuff about? And by the way, this is pretty good. I didn't expect this. Yeah. Talk a little bit about this second act that you've had where, yes, you get to leverage Drew Shafino, the really good athlete and basketball player, but now you're leveraging that part of your history to tell different types of stories, including stories about, annual household income, what politicians are or are not doing. You interviewed somebody from the Penn Hills School Board at one point in time. You've talked about, unsolved mysteries. Talk about how you've been able to do both of those things when most people probably just want to remember you as the dude that was hitting all those jump shots or dunking on folks.
Yeah, people remember me for sports, so they think I don't even... once you play sports, they think that's all you know about sports. But like I told you before, my first love is, I used to watch America Most Wanted, Unsolved Mysteries. So my first love is crime. So I love the feature on, unsolved homicides or feature missing people who are still missing today. But get back to what you said. Like, I want to show people my variety of who I am as a person. I know a lot of stuff, and my knowledge about a lot of stuff. So. When you've been a great athlete your whole life, people got the stigma and they think that's all you is sports. Anything after that, it's like he don't know nothing else but sports though. So when I talk about politics, people might look at me like, what the hell do you know about politics though? But I'm using my platform. I use my social media website to introduce and show people I know about a lot of things.
But you're talking to the everyday person now that probably, not even probably, because I know the people that love you, they can relate to you. Very well. So when you start talking about those issues, they feel connected to those issues all of a sudden. They feel as though I have a right to talk about what's going on politically. I have a right to talk about why we're not making more money in my household. I have a right to talk about why jobs aren't there in the region like they should be. What's been the feedback that you've been hearing from, I don't want to call them everyday people because you and I are everyday people, right? We're just dudes of a certain generation from Penn Hills. But the people that don't have our platforms, Drew, have to have a certain connection to us regardless. You've been very successful in a very short period of time of creating those ties as you talk about these other things. Talk to me a little bit before we go to break about what the feedback has been for you as you go from sports history, and by the way, this mother of three disappeared in 1999, has never been heard of again. The mystery's been unsolved. Why didn't anybody follow up on this mystery? You will do that within a span of 24 hours. What's been the feedback for people that are like, I'm glad somebody said something?
Actually, my most views on my website is always when I do crime. People love crime, so when I do a unsolved homicide, people do enjoy reading that. But back to the when I talked about the Pittsburgh, the money the black Pittsburgh made, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's I ain't gonna say it is what it is, but it's two different Pittsburghs. You have your black Pittsburgh, and you don't want your white Pittsburgh. So it's we live in Pittsburgh is. It's a very, poverty area for blacks. So I want to put that out there. And a lot of people don't have that platform. So people responded to that article I did. And they kind of agreed with it and loved I wrote about it. And that was one of my best articles I did.
It's one of the ones that caught attention for me. And I got to commend you on this. It's bold. It's not, again, I sit here on News Radio KDK. I'm in public policy. I bring it up, and I can tell you the phone calls I get at 866-391-1020. Some of them aren't nice.
Yeah, I understand. But,
but a dude that is known as an athlete to take that step. You had, I know that you had to take a little bit of shade from some folks. Yeah. But the flip side is you had to have felt empowered as an author and as a website developer and owner that you could do that, get the good feedback you got, and then allow you to feel bold enough to take the next step with other articles.
Yeah, I felt good. When you get good feedback, you're always going to get people who disagree with anything you say, but getting the good feedback and people saying it's a well-written article. And I do a lot of research, so when I put an article out there, I'm giving you, it's not no opinion. I'm giving that. The numbers is all facts and all data, so you can't really disagree with data. I'm giving you the hardcore facts. So if you're presenting real facts to back it up instead of just being opinionated, people kind of respect that.
Dig it. So listen, I'm going to follow up. I'm going to finish up with Drew as well. 866-391-1020. Finishing up my hour with my man, Drew Shafino. Go to the website, drewshafino.com. I think that you will be pleasantly surprised. There is something for everybody there, and it's high quality. It's not high quality H2O like the Water Boy, but it's still high quality. Go check it out. Coming back after the break here on News Radio KDKA.
It's the little things. The information you need. People you know. The little things that make a big difference. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Hey, I'm Sam.
And I'm Calvin with Cousins Roofing, Siding, and Decks.
Calvin, you know what I love most about this job? That moment when the job's done. Maybe it's a new roof, upgraded siding, or a deck that makes you want to be outside, and you see that look on the customer's face.
Yeah, man, that never gets old. The care, the clean work, no shortcuts. And that's just how these Cousins have been doing it ever since Grandma's garage.
And that's not changing.
Call the Cousins.
Cousins Roofing, Siding, and Decks. Call the Cousins.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Brew, and I feel like everything in my life depends on being connected. Whether I'm uploading a video, hopping on a call before my show, or video chatting with my family back in Michigan, I never have to think about my Wi-Fi. And that's why Xfinity stands out. You get the most reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi with the best equipment at one price for 5 years guaranteed. No contracts or commitments. Plus, you can get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Use of fiber or coaxial cable. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi. Xfinity, imagine that.
Your sales team has the talent. They've got the tools. They don't have time to close the deals you need to win unless they have sales with AI. SAILES.com. Sales.com.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
Folks, stay tuned right here at News Radio KDK. The storms are coming through. They're coming through really, really hard. If you're living in the northern part of the metropolitan area and going further up I-79, please stay glued to News Radio KDK. Check the weather. Check the reports. Stay safe. It's pretty bad out there for a period of time. We will continue to give you weather updates as they come in here at News Radio KDKA. But in the meanwhile, thank you for listening here. I'm going to finish up with my man, Drew Shafino. Again, drewshafino.com is the website. And, you know, I know that there will probably be some people out there, Drew, that will be like, man, you had him on twice in the last 3 months. Why? Well, one, the website's taken off. It's growing fast. Yeah. 2, there are not a lot of former athletes from Western Pennsylvania that have your career and then want to be bold enough to also talk about culture, that want to talk about, like you said, unsolved crimes, that want to do one-on-one interviews with people, that are willing to both. I mean, I have to imagine even when you talk to some of these athletes, Drew, you're asking them about their career, but you're also asking them about what it was like as the person to go through those experiences. Not everybody does that in a vulnerable way. And more often than not, whether it's you or your brother or the people you interview are sports heroes. They go away and then they stay away.
Yeah.
You're giving people a glimpse of coming back and saying, look, you have immortalized me as a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
You've immortalized me as a dude that can do certain things on the court. I have a brain. You've immortalized me as somebody that played professionally. I am a guy that has opinions on what's going on in our society today. Talk to me a little bit about the folks that have watched you do that. Because you and I have talked about this at Starbucks, so share what you like. The people that didn't expect you to do this. Because it's one thing the people that experience the website are like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah. It's a different story when you're getting calls from people that were like, man, I didn't know you were like that. It's like, man, you've known me like for 40 years. What do you mean you didn't know I could do this? What has that been like? Those people that were connected to you that are now getting to see a completely different depth of who you are through the website.
That what makes it great, because it's like people, they remember the 20-year-old, 21-year-old, and it's crazy because I'm 45 now, so it's not that I'm not that 21-year-old person no more. So they just remember me playing basketball. They remember things, you know, my incident at WVU and stuff like that. So that's what it sticks with them. They have this perception of you, but you know, perception's not reality. So I'm just trying to show people, especially the people who didn't know me. They only knew by reading the paper, seeing me play basketball. So it feels good when I get messages. I feel better when I get messages about strangers versus people I know, because you know, a stranger just inboxing you out of nowhere, you know, it's a genuine. They really like what I'm doing, and I haven't got anything bad. I get positive messages every day, and you know, it makes you want to work hard. It makes you feel good doing your website when you get love and people you don't know from all walks of life telling you that the great work you're doing. So it makes me feel good doing it.
Except from me, the text I send you are trashing you continuously. Yeah. That's the counterbalance to keep you grounded.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Drew knows I love him, and I encourage him, and that's one of the things that and you know, I've talked about this, and again, you know, 866-391-1020. This is one of the reasons why I enjoy watching the rise, is because, you know, everybody, if you're willing to work on a second act, you can find it. You know, I know you and I have both of us as college athletes, we kind of stubbed our toes a little bit. Yeah. You know, yours more profile than mine, yours in a more profile sport than mine, but we both did. So I know what it was like for you to go through that and have people kind of look at you that way. You know, in a smaller sense, but I did.
Yeah.
It's funny, I talked about that during the Reagan Foundation event on Wednesday night. I talked about how I was in college. And I said, you know, people watching this at the Reagan Library in the suit and tie, and I told them that Too Hype is here, they would just flip out and be like, I can't believe this dude is so calm. Yeah. That's not the dude I knew in college. Yeah. But I'm more than twice as old as I was back in college. I enjoy watching you make the most of this second act and showing people that you might have had a jump shot and you might have been a scorer, but you know how to score with your brain. You know how to score with your words. You know how to resonate in this type of way. And it's gratifying to see that, which is why I have you on. And that's why I ask you the questions. And one of the last questions I'm going to ask you is, you know, where does this go from here over the next 6 months? Because this is coming across less like a blog post or less as a website and you're starting to get into the realm of being more like a publication. And I can see, just throwing it out there, I can see the value of a DrewShafino.com being a small publication in Western Pennsylvania that touches upon different things, has a small staff, but does something in a very niche way that the Post-Gazette's not necessarily going to do on a regular basis. The Trib Live's not going to do necessarily on a regular basis. We don't have the City Paper as much anymore, or so many other publications. It seems as though there's a lane there for that, for you to do that. Is that what you're looking at doing next? And you know, if that's the case, how do people go along for that ride?
I do think what I'm doing right now, no one else is doing it, especially former athletes doing it. So I do everyone. That's what people say. The lane I'm in, no one else is doing it. That's what makes it's interesting and make people love it, though. So, like you said, I'm trying to grow my website, making a regional media outlet, and just cover everything from sports, entertainment, culture, history. Just cover everything. I just wanted to be a media outlet. People can go to me, look at me as not like a blog, just because I started, like you said, I started as a blog and it's expanded. Now I wanted a media website, but I want to do articles. So a lot of people don't have the Post-Gazette or Tribune giving them that platform to tell a person's story or put their business out there. And I want to be the guy who's help people put their story out there, help people put their business, and just tell you the what really happens. I have no agenda by it and stuff. I just want to be different with that.
Yeah, yours is the way you do things, Drew, and the way you're writing is different because of the fact that when it's the more traditional publications, and there's nothing wrong with it per se, but there's a methodology that they use. Yeah. There's a tone that they use. Even the way they'll interpret history is a little differently. You as an African American man, I know your family history. I know, just kind of how you became who you are and now who you're becoming and what you're doing in your 40s with this new trajectory. To be able to tell other people's stories through that has a value that you're not going to get through traditional media. Even here on News Radio KDKA, if I were just reporting on you for 30 seconds, it's a lot different than doing what we're doing now. As you move forward this week, this month, the following months, what are things that people can do to kind of help inspire you to take this to another level?
Like I said, I get inspired every day because I want to, I'm one of them guys who want the best of my ability to do. But like I said, getting inbox messages. But I really started this because people didn't know my story because we didn't have social media back then. We didn't have internet. So people didn't really know the story until I wrote my book and people got to hear the story. So now when I do these Q&A, people get to hear the real story of a player. A lot of people might think the player failed. He didn't live up to his hype, but now he has the platform to explain his situation, what happened, and just show people how his career went in his own words. We didn't have that back in the day, and that's one of the reasons I started my website. Wanted to get people's story out there that people didn't know, because for years people didn't know what happened to me. So now I'm giving people that platform to tell people the real story, what happened.
I want to commend you, man, because you could have done this just for you, and said, "I answered some questions, I'm done." It takes some vision, it takes some courage to do that for other people. So I commend you for doing that, kind sir.
Appreciate that.
I'm looking forward to seeing many good things from you moving forward. Again, you all can go to DrewShafino.com, read the articles. You'll find a little bit of something for everybody there, and you'll see this continue to grow. Drew, thanks for coming on News Radio KDKA once again.
Appreciate you always having me on.
No problem at all. Hey, folks, check the weather. Stick around for news. I'll catch up to you on the other side, 866-391-1020 here on News Radio KDKA.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
President of Point Park University, Chris Purcellus, and the mayor of Bradenton, Florida, Gene Brown.
I think it's an incredible opportunity for us to consider another location in Bradenton, Florida.
Genius. I love this. You're going to be forced to come to Pittsburgh more, Mayor. And Chris, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go to Florida more.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
Join Allegheny County for the summer concert series with free live music all season long at Hartwood Acres and South Park amphitheaters. Bring a blanket, bring your friends, and come hungry. Local food trucks, Black Dog Winery, and Hop Farm Brewing Company will be on site starting at 6 p.m. Concerts kick off at 7:30. No tickets, no cost, just great music and even better vibes. Your summer soundtrack starts here. Visit AlleghenyCounty.us/summer for the full lineup.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Food truck owners, today business will be booming. People will love your new menu and not make special orders. You will not roll your eyes when someone calls it a quesadilla. You will also switch to Progressive to get 30 customizable coverage options and restore your inner peace. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and covered selections.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
From ABC News, I'm Mike Dubowski. Admiral Brad Cooper is pushing back on reports of poor living conditions aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln, which hasn't been into port in more than 200 days. In a new op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, Cooper calls those reports old news after a visit to the ship currently stationed in the Arabian Sea. South Carolina and Nevada will kick off the 2028 Democratic primary calendar after the DNC approved changes to the schedule this weekend. ABC News contributor and former DNC chair Donna Brazil told ABC's This Week she supports the changes.
In Louisiana, we call it lagniappe. We added a little bit of something extra to the calendar. We wanted to make sure we included more battleground states.
But not all Democrats are on board.
New Hampshire has long prided itself in its first-in-the-nation status, and they've had it in state law in New Hampshire for 5 decades now, that its primary should come before any other in the country. In the 2024 cycle, the DNC tried to tell states that if they leapfrogged over others, they would be penalized, and that candidates who campaigned in those states could see penalties too. New Hampshire went ahead with its plan anyway. In theory, in 2028, New Hampshire could, again, cite its state law, try to go first, put this new schedule to the test, put the DNC to the test, see if they'll seat the delegates from that state.
ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy. A day of cleanup in Indiana.
A natural disaster like this does not know city boundaries or county boundaries. We are truly all in this together, and we are here to assist one another.
Noblesville Mayor Chris Jensen there. Over the last few days, that state's been hit with heavy rain and flooding. At least 6 people have died as a result of the severe weather. Meanwhile, almost 200,000 people are without power in Hawaii as now Tropical Storm Lala continues to move west. A flash flood warning remains in effect for parts of Oahu, with rainfall rates of more than 1 inch per hour possible. At least 1 person died in that storm yesterday. You're listening to ABC News.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
The KDKA AccuWeather Forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Clouds, a breaks of sunshine and humid this afternoon with a couple of drenching thunderstorms. Could produce some flooding downpours and damaging wind gusts, high 81. Still a couple of showers and thunderstorms around tonight, low 72. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The following is an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli.
This week, Allegheny County's Government Review Commission weighed in on an issue that has persisted for decades: property reassessments. The 9-member board, which is designed to look at government operations, is recommending Allegheny County be reassessed every 4 years, during the first year of a newly elected county executive's term. The recommendation comes as Allegheny County Council is weighing its own legislation that would require reassessments every 3 years. Allegheny County's last countywide reassessment was in 2012. With a tight housing market driving home prices higher and the effect of the pandemic eroding the value of downtown office towers, we agree that reassessments should be done on a regular basis. Doing them every 4 years would keep the issue from becoming a political hot potato and would give property owners and taxing bodies a more realistic window to deal with any changes in the market.
This has been an editorial by KDKA Radio Regional Vice President Michael Spacciapoli. To view a transcript, go to kdkaradio.com.
Always enjoy talking to Drew Shafino. Go to drewshafino.com to see more of what we were talking about. Phone lines open, 866-391-1020. First and foremost, before I go into talking about anything else, please be careful out there. If you look up in the sky, you will see it does not look good. I can hear the thunder right over us. I've seen lights flicker here at the studios. So please be careful. Stay tuned in here at News Radio KDK. Pay attention to broadcast so that you know if there's any type of questionable or dangerous weather coming your way. You can hear about it and you can act proactively. That's first and foremost. Second of all, 866-391-1020. Willing to go in any direction right now. I could talk a little bit about the war. I can talk a little bit about the economy. I could talk a little bit about what I talked about in MS Now on Friday, which was the whole Trump administration going back to the Supreme Court to say, please let us build this ballroom. Please let us continue to build the things that we're building. We also talked about how there are still millions upon millions being dumped into vanity projects with the administration. We could talk about that if you like. Those that did call in that have already gotten the book, A Venn Diagram of One, An American Story, I appreciate that. You can call in and talk about that as well. I just got to be honest. It's been a crazy week. So if you talk to me about current events politically, I probably have followed it. Haven't dug into it as much as I normally would. But that is what it is. I know there will be some people that will be like, hey, did you see the Steelers? No, I was in Washington, D.C. when they played on Thursday night. I had people updating me on the Steelers, but I didn't quite see the Steelers. So give me grace. It's been a very different week for me. That's it. 866-391-1020. Dick and Dayton, you were on KDK.
Hey, Lenny, I really liked your guest. He was really good, you know.
Drew is a wonderful guy. Appreciate him calling. I appreciate him coming in once again. And look, and for those of you that were out there watching, Dick, and others that were listening in, you can tell that I root for the guy. He's a good dude. He is living out his second act, and it's growing. So he is somebody that is easy to me. He's easy to root for. He's easy to help, and it's been a blessing to get to know him. So yes, it was a joy to have him on once again.
He was pretty good. You're speaking of, it's pretty soon, buddy. Here's come to, I'm from, even it said, you think the Steelers are going to be okay for this year?
I didn't get a chance to see the game. I was in Washington, D.C. Thursday night and was doing a bunch of running around there. I had people that updated me on the game. I had people that updated me on the quarterback play. It's one of 3 preseason games. We'll have to see. I'll get a chance, I guess, to watch a preseason game this upcoming week. But, Dick, everybody's going to win the Super Bowl and everybody's going to win the national championship at this time of the year, and then they start really playing the games.
Yeah. Well, good to talk to you, buddy.
Hey, you be safe over there as well. Look, if storms are coming through western Pennsylvania, they're usually coming through western Ohio first, so you make sure that you're safe over there, all right?
Okay. Maybe talk to you next week, okay?
We shall. You take care of yourself, Dick, and God bless, okay?
Yeah, okay. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. 866-391-1020. Always enjoy talking to everybody. But Dick's always one of those folks that you can hear the smile in his voice. I don't know if any of you all have heard that expression before, but there are people that you can hear the smile that they have on their face in their voice. He's one of those individuals. So, Dick, I always appreciate you calling in from Dayton, Ohio. And to those of you that listen on 866-391-1020, thank you for doing that. Like I said, in the meanwhile, I'm going to look at the TV real quick to get just an idea on the weather before I go back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. I'm looking at a map, and I can tell you that strong storms, it's a line of storms going up to Butler and all the way up to Shenango County, all the way down to the Pennsylvania border and past the Pennsylvania border. So those of you listening in West Virginia, by the way, we just had a Mountaineer on with Drew Shafino. If you're down listening to us in West Virginia, strong storms coming through New Kensington, Plum, Delmont, further down going south. Be careful. Check the weather. Be proactive in keeping yourself safe. 866-391-1020. Michael in Dormont, you're on KDKA.
Yes. Hey, I had things I was supposed to be doing today, but after I listened to your first section, I was mesmerized. And then your guest, and you had such a beautiful rapport. I put off the 3 things I was supposed to do and just listened to you. I want to thank you for great programming.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. And hat tip to Drew Shafino. He's a good dude. He's one of us. He's a native Pittsburgher. He's a guy that succeeded in one regard and then is starting a second act. So Michael, it's always easy for me to try to be supportive of people that are trying to do the right thing with their career, with their communities and the like. So it's just a delight to be able to do that. So thank you.
I think that something that I enjoyed out of the first section or part of your show was that you are seeing your children accomplish maybe something that you did not see yourself being able to achieve. And that is one of the most wonderful feelings in the world, whether it's sports related, academic related, music related, but to see your child and for you to sit there knowingly being humble and realize I could have never achieved that. I think some of the things you talked about hit that mark perfectly.
Michael, I appreciate it, and I appreciate your call and listening to us today, especially with the bad weather. I mean, yeah, my kids, God bless them. My wife, God bless her. There are things that I just could not have done. My son got on an airplane and flew to the other side of the pond, got off the plane, and studied for 2 weeks at one of the oldest colleges in the world. And did it like it was nothing. Just kind of did his thing, did it well, came home, went from there. I would not have gone across the pond. I wouldn't have gone across the country for 2 weeks as a 16-year-old without eventually calling home and, I'm not crying. No, I don't miss home. No, this kid was just locked in. And to your point, Michael, to be able to see your kids do things, whether it's my oldest with grad school, she has more education than I do. We used to say a rhyme, and I mentioned this in the book, a Venn diagram of one. I mentioned in the book that when I was graduating from Davidson, the rhyme I had with her when she was 7 and 8 years old was, Daddy's gone back to school to get his degree. If he can get 1, I can get 3. undergrad, master's, and PhD. Well, she's basically there. She doesn't have a PhD, but she succeeded in 2 different master's programs, and she graduated with honors as an undergrad. I wasn't going to do that. I didn't do that. I couldn't have done that. I wasn't focused like that in my 20s. I wasn't focused like that in my teens. She was. I'm extremely proud of her. And she's so even keel with it. It was just, when your kids succeed and they expect to succeed, there's a beauty in that as well, because they don't see success as impossible to obtain. It is just something that we do. And it, with my kids, it started with her. And so we try to explain to the other ones following her, particularly the last 2. There's been a standard that's been set by your older siblings. This is just what we do. There's a standard that's been set by your mom. This is just what we do. And Michael, to your point, to be able to see it and live it. Kids don't realize this until they have their own kids. You can't. My daughter gets it now. My son, the 27-year-old, gets it now. And maybe the other 2 get it. But to be able to watch your kids accomplish and just, you push, but you're proud, and it's both. You're pushing and you're proud. There's value in that. There's joy in that. There's reflection in that, in a way that it doesn't come when you do it yourself. I will not look at what this week has been for me with this book probably for 5 years, maybe 10 years. I won't get an appreciation of this because it's me doing it. Whereas when it's your kids, when it's your spouse, you can, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I can do it with them, to your point, a lot faster, a lot easier, in a more holistic way than I can when it's just me. That's it. 866-391-1020. I'm going to go to break. Again, you all pay attention to the weather out there. I will do the same. If there are any updates, I will make sure that you get them here on News Radio KDKA.
Your source for the AccuWeather forecast. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
Your sales team has the talent. They've got the tools. They don't have time to close the deals you need to win unless they have sales with AI. SAILES.com. Sales.com is pipeline as infrastructure. Always on, always prospecting in the background. No logins, no data entry, just real opportunities delivered to your reps. The future of sales is SAILES.com.
Every time I've had CertaPro painters do work on my home, I really appreciate their professionalism. They make it worry-free, and it starts with a free estimate, all at the right price. And I love that each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. Hi, this is Larry Richard. It's the perfect time to reach out, get CertaPro painters to visit your home. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. You'll be so glad you did. Trust CertaPro Painters.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Retirement, it's almost here. Are you ready? Join Beth Andrews of Net Worth Advisors for the Net Worth Financial Hour. Let Beth help you plan for your retirement dreams. Don't miss the Net Worth Financial Hour every Saturday afternoon at 1. Net Worth Advisors, LLC is a registered investment advisor.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
All right, again, like I said, be safe out there with this weather. If you're driving, know where you're going, know what weather you're driving into. If you're at home, listen here at News Radio KDKA. Check out the news as well. Even if you got to kind of listen to us and watch TV so you could see a weather map, do that just to stay safe. Like I said, this is a line of storms. So it looks as though nobody in Western Pennsylvania is going to be spared. From what I could see and what I've seen, it seems to go all the way up the Shenango, all the way down to the Pennsylvania-West Virginia border and beyond south. And it's just a line coming through. I've seen, well, when I used to live in Chicago, the Midwest has derechos. And derechos are special. I will never forget seeing derechos coming across the sky. It looks like mud just rolling across the sky. It's kind of clear, then it's gray, and then here comes this mud. And it's not mud. It ain't nothing but 80 to 100 mile an hour winds and rain and hail. But it's straight line. It's not like a tornado per se. It may spin off a tornado, but it's not a tornado per se. Those are special. Now, I'm not saying this is the derecho, but the line of storms that you would see in a derecho, this is what it looked like when I looked at it on a weather map. So just kind of keep that in mind for much of the rest of the afternoon. In the meanwhile, 866-391-1020. Going to Bishop and Denora. You're on KDK. Oh, you know what? Hold on, Brother Bishop. Before I do that, I have to go to weather now. We just got a recent update. Ryan, I do apologize for that. Ryan, if you will, hit the weather. Let's get the update right now.
A flash flood warning has been issued for Washington County, effective until 7:15 p.m.
All right, let me go ahead and go back to the phone lines. I just wanted to make sure they got that in. Again, Washington County, flash flood warning, 7:15. Stay alive. Do not drive through high water. You just don't know how deep the water actually is. Be smart about it. It's better for you to get home safely, even if it's delayed, than to take that risk. 866-391-1020 now. Going back to the phone lines. Brother Bishop, you're on KDK.
You may hear me order some. I'm out in this stuff. How long is this storm supposed to last?
Well, they just said that the flash flooding warning is supposed to be until 7:15.
Well, I'm talking about the storms itself.
Well, the storm, I would have to imagine that we're talking about the same, around 7:15 to 8. I would go with that first. We'll continue to have updates.
All right. Listen, Brother Lane, I'm very disappointed because I really wanted to surprise Cynthia when she came up there. I'm still trying to find this book.
Well, I will tell you that the South Hills Village Barnes & Noble reached out to us today, and they said they will have it in stock within the next couple of days. There are some stores that have had them coming in. Others, what they have been doing is somebody goes in, they have it for them the next day. I can tell you that there have been people ordering it online, and they get it shipped to their house within a day.
All right. Well, I'll have to check with Amazon, and if I can do it, because I got Prime, I'll see if I can do it, and then maybe I can get there by Monday or Tuesday. But because I was kind of disappointed to see that bump Cornell West and you standing and him having a book.
Well, Cornell West was here. He was here.
Number 7 is not 5, please.
Pardon me?
Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that he was here a couple of weeks ago, so had an opportunity for him to get a copy. But the point of that on Facebook was, and I was talking about the posts that I mentioned earlier during the 2 o'clock hours, the fact that there's a lot of different type of individuals that have been aware of this book that can see themselves in it, including somebody such as Dr. West, who is obviously going to be different from me politically speaking, but yet have certain values that still resonate with both of us, even if we disagree on the political or the public policy perspectives therein.
Well, are you trying to tell me you had some books available then before it even came out?
Did I have some books available? I mean, we had probably like 10, but not 100 or 500. They give the author a very small number of books to share from a promotional perspective.
I see. Now let me get to the president here. You know, Brother Lenny, I mean, it's really becoming a travesty that the comments that he's making about now he criticizes Fox News for his polling. But I don't believe it. You know, I've come to the point now, Brother Lenny. I don't believe in the polls. I just tell candidates, you just get your people out and get them out to the polls, get them out to vote, because the polls don't mean nothing. I don't care if it says you're up or if you're down, because I don't take any chances with this crooked regime in office. I'm sorry, some of them are your people that you may know, but this is ridiculous. So what we have to go through as American people, and I will tell you, there's some sad folks out here. I talked to a young lady, African American, and I was disappointed that she told me she don't vote, haven't voted. She's 29 years old, and here's the thing that gets me. She gets food stamps and everything else, and with 5 kids. I said, well, what if the government takes everything from you? Well, I don't care. Well, I said, what can I do to convince you need to vote for your own interest? I don't care. I said, you know, this is some of the stuff that we have to be dealing with. People is not doing what they're supposed to do and vote for their better interest. And then they be the first ones complaining. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, but here's the thing with that, though, Brother Bishop. There are a lot of people that have voted for what they thought was in their best interest, and then the people that are in office don't do what needs to be done. Now, at the risk of sounding like a politico, I mean, Western Pennsylvania, in many instances, is a one-party type of region. You look at the city of Pittsburgh, you look at Allegheny County, you look at most of the municipalities within Allegheny County, which there are scores of municipalities in Allegheny County. It's a one-party system. And yet, and Drew Shafino brought it up. He brought it up on his website. He brought it up during his interview. You know, this is one of the worst places for African Americans to live in the United States. So for you to tell me that an African American 29-year-old would look at, you know, politics and say, I don't really care about voting, and I can probably imagine what a 29-year-old African American woman would go through living in Western Pennsylvania based on the statistics. It's literally pretty much the worst urban area for her to live in the United States when it comes to her health care, her economic viability, and her quality of life overall. I'm not surprised. So, but that said, I mean, not to tie it back too much to this, but that's part of the reason why I wrote the book, is to kind of say, listen, you still got to do it anyway. That America's gone through these cycles, and you have to get reengaged. But to sit there and say that you're shocked that she wouldn't vote, I'm not shocked. I know what young people feel, you know, how they feel about where the American dream is for them. They don't feel like it's viable anymore. And we haven't given them a good reason for it either on both sides of the aisle. Before you say it's just Trump, it ain't just Trump. Because I said, one-party systems in many of these urban environments, these kids are still struggling. I can understand why they're frustrated.
Well, I'll close with this, though. Do you think that these politicians around here, knowing that what you just said, and I've heard on many accounts, do you think that these politicians even care about the African Americans in Western Pennsylvania? And I'll talk to you if I get the book. I'm going to try to find you the sign it, all right?
I appreciate that. Like I said, go to the South Hills Village one. I know that they're going to have some in stock very shortly. I know some of the other Barnes & Nobles are putting stuff in stock as well. Many people have gone there and said, can you order it for me? They get it in a day. Many people have gone on to Amazon.com. They get it in a day. Of course, if you go to ebook or audiobook, you get it immediately. Do I think that the majority of these politicians in Western Pennsylvania care about the black community in a way to kind of put some things into place? Not as much as they say they do. Going to break, coming back to the phones, 866-391-1020 after the news here on News Radio KDKA.
Enjoy the great summer savings at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, all natural boneless, skinless chicken breasts are $1.79 a pound, In the produce department, red ripe seedless watermelons are $3.99 each. In our deli, Gugelsberg Swiss cheese $5.99 a pound. And additional savings this week, selected varieties of Snyder to Berlin potato chips, 7.75 to 8-ounce bags. Buy one, get one free.
It's happening at Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Ouch! Checked from behind. Man, that's gotta hurt.
I'd hire Morgan & Morgan if I were them.
What?
Yeah, Dan, America's largest injury law firm. They serve up justice, ice, cold, law. Know what I mean?
I guess.
Their gloves come off when they fight for you.
Okay.
I'm talking a settlement slap shot.
Shouldn't we be talking about the game?
Yeah, Dan. Morgan & Morgan. Proud sponsor of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Offices Pittsburgh.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Pittsburgh's very own board-certified and licensed hypnotherapist Dan Vitchoff of the PA Hypnosis Center is here to help you. He has helped train U.S. Olympic team members control their brains, stay relaxed, focused, and in control, giving them the edge for the gold. He's recognized by many organizations around the world as one of the top hypnotherapists anywhere. He has gotten over 3,000 people to give up cigarettes for good in the last 22 years. He's helped folks even who've tried gastric bypass to lose weight. He can help you and give you a 98% success guarantee. Call 724-934-8446. That's Dan Vitchoff, the PA Hypnosis Center. Mention KDKA and get $50 off any program. But call for a free consultation today, 724-934-8446. The PA Hypnosis Center with Dan Vitchoff. Make that call today, 724-934-8446.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Hear it on News Radio KDKA. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
I'm Mike Dubusky. The DNC voting this weekend to finalize the new order of states for the 2028 presidential nominating process. South Carolina will now hold its primary first. Not everyone's happy with the change. Details from ABC's Stephen Portnoy at the White House.
In theory, in 2028, New Hampshire could try to go first, put this new schedule to the test, put the DNC to the test, see if they'll seat the delegates from that state. It could pose a challenge for Democratic candidates. It's likely to be a wide-open contest on both sides. And both parties have tried to put New Hampshire and Iowa in play in the general election. Iowa Democrats, we should mention, are miffed by this and say this plan is a mistake.
Cleanup efforts are underway in Indiana after several days of severe weather there, and heavy rain and dangerous winds continue to lash parts of Hawaii, even as Tropical Storm Lala continues to weaken. Yesterday, the storm was at hurricane strength. It dumped more than 30 inches of rain in some areas. This is ABC News.
5 games in 2 days. It's the 3rd annual KDKA Kickoff Classic, live from the Wolf Arena August 28th and 29th. Teams from Western Pennsylvania and New Jersey's Bergen Catholic make their way to the home of the Wolverines for a 2-day extravaganza of high school football. Get the full schedule at KDKARadio.com.
It's powered by Bowser Chevrolet.
High school football lives on 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. Last week, Los Angeles was trading at 16%, meaning a $100 trade would pay out $590 if they take home the title. On Kalshi, as the probability changes, you adjust your position. Download the Kalshi app and use code UPDATE to get up to $500 in bonus credits when you trade $25. Kalshi, trade on anything. 18 plus only, must be present in state where it is legal to trade. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. Bonus credits do not expire. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. For more information, see Kalshi.com/regulatory.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? A man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $110 per month, level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. Call Term Busters for a quote, 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate rate for preferred non-tobacco rate class. Exam required to qualify. For details, call 1-800-908-7636. Paid for by Robert Livinger, Insurance Agent.
Summer is winding down, making it the perfect time to get your home ready for the fall and holidays with beautiful custom window treatments from Lachina Drapery and Blind Factory. For over 60 years, Lachina has been manufacturing custom draperies in their own Dormont factory, giving homeowners superior quality, fast turnaround times, and factory direct value. Visit Lachina's Dormont or Wexford showrooms. Schedule free shop-at-home service by calling 412-665-4900 or go to lachinadrapery.com.
August is Sandwich Month, and Easy Cater is rolling out a new surprise deal every week from August 3rd through 30th. That means every order of delicious sandwiches for your team comes with a side of something special just for you. From cheese steaks and cubanos to pita pockets and pastrami, Easy Cater makes it easy to bring everyone's favorite sandwiches to work and rack up big rewards while you're at it. New week, new deal, all August long. Visit easycater.com to place your next order and take a bite out of Sandwich Month. Restrictions apply. See offer details at easycater.com.
Running a business shouldn't feel like a juggling act. One app for accounting, another for inventory, one more for sales, and somehow they never work together. Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated platform with all the business applications you need. CRM, inventory, accounting, marketing, and more, all working together seamlessly. Stop juggling software and get back to growing your business. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Clouds will break for some sun at times this afternoon. We'll have a couple of heavy thunderstorms. It will be humid, a high of 81. Some of the storms could produce flooding downpours and locally damaging winds. Still a couple of showers and storms tonight, low 72. For AccuWeather, I'm Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, now before I go back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020, let's go get another weather update from Ryan. Ryan, thank you, kind sir.
A tornado warning has been issued for Indiana County and Westmoreland County, effective until 5:04 p.m.
So again, Indiana County, Westmoreland County, tornado warning until 5:04 this afternoon. That gives you about a half an hour to pay very close attention to the weather out that way. Indiana County, Westmoreland County, for the next half an hour. As of right now, be mindful of the weather. Tornado warning out there. So just be mindful. If you have any more questions or updates, I'm reaching, if those of you watching online, what I am doing is I'm trying to find a weather map because we're seeing, now I could see it, then I'll get to the phone lines, 866-391-1020. We're seeing a lot of powerful storms. They're up to well over 30 lightning strikes going towards that way, talking about Ligonier, Burl. So just be mindful. Again, Indiana County, Westmoreland County. Tornado warning until 5:05. 866-391-1020. Going back to the phone lines. Dave in Wilkinsburg, you're on KDK.
This August, we're getting tornado warnings in the area. That says something there. It's August. Hey, I went in front of Pittsburgh City Council 2 weeks ago. I had 3 minutes to talk to them in the public forum, and I brought up two things. My solar energy garden project for East Liberty at the corner of Penn and Nagley. There is a large open urban lot of land that has been a wasteland for over a dozen years. About a dozen years ago, USA Today, the national newspaper, voted or had a poll, and they said that East Liberty is one of the 10 most urban redeveloped areas of a city in the United States at that time. That was 12 years ago. I figured at that time, a few weeks later, that corner there would be perfect for a solar energy garden project site. I went in front of the city council about 5-6 years ago and presented it. I went about a month ago. I went 2 weeks ago and presented the same idea, solar energy garden parks for the corner of Penn and Negley in East Liberty. I also brought up pollinator-friendly agrivoltaic projects for along I-79 from Erie County north to Greene County south. I think that would be perfect. Small sites that have pollinator-friendly plants and are a eco-tourism attraction for Western Pennsylvania. Ecotourism is big in other parts of the country. You probably know that. You probably even go to them. People would come here from the 5-state area at least, including Michigan, to see our ecotourism along I-79. West Virginia Land Trust has taken an interest in that project and wants to extend it down 79 to Charleston area. That's where the West Virginia Land Trust I contacted was based at. Through Morgantown, I contacted the Davis College of Agriculture in Morgantown, West Virginia University. They are interested. Other than that, Bluefield State, outside of Charleston, won't get back to me. I presented it to them many a time. They did express interest in some of my other projects years ago. I got a nice round of applause from the council meeting, whoever was there. There was about 20, 30 people there. I was happy and proud of that. And I thanked them and told them to have a good day. And I really feel like I made an accomplishment for the city of Pittsburgh. Next, I would like to go in front of the Allegheny County Council and discuss it with them. Do you know how I do that?
You can sign up the same way you signed up for city council. You can sign up for county council, and they should have an opportunity for you to speak to the council. And put it on
meet
record.
in the city county building.
Yeah.
I don't. Which floor do you know? The city county meeting was on the 5th floor.
Well, Dave, what I'm going to tell you is this. You should be able to call down there when they're open. They should tell you exactly how to walk through the process so you can be part of the public record.
Okay, I'll bring this up as a third topic. Allegheny County Council, at least before Sarah Inamarato, and she's fine and a good lady, and I hope she does well with her kids that she's going to have. Before she took over, they are a bunch of hardheads down there. You call them, you used to get an old man on the phone that was a hardhead that didn't want to hear anything. And that's what Allegheny County Council, I got the impression, was a bunch of old-timer hardheads. I don't know if that's similar to the Duquesne Club in a different way, but the hardheads at the Allegheny County Council turned me off.
Well, Dave, I appreciate your phone call. I'd have to imagine that those are different groups in some regards. People that are involved in the entrenched aspects of bureaucracy and government have been there for probably, in some instances, anywhere from 10 to 30 years. Duquesne Club's a social club that you belong to by way of income. I'm sure they have some overlap, but not quite the same. But I appreciate your phone call, and I'm glad that you had a good experience talking in front of Pittsburgh City Council. That's cool. I'm glad you feel proud of what you did. We all should be doing projects and advancing the common good as we see fit to help our fellow man and our community members moving forward. So kudos to you on that. 1-866-391-1020. The phone lines are open if you want to call in. Number 2, and more importantly, please keep an eye on the weather. That's why I keep crooking my neck. while I'm talking, because I'm looking at 2 or 3 different channels that are highlighting the weather maps. Now, I mean, obviously, we're getting information coming in by way of our weather reports, and hat tip to Ryan for keeping an eye on that. But I'm also looking at maps on television that give you an idea of where the worst storms are. Right now, it looks as though the worst of things are coming through Greensburg, Salem, Huntington, Mount Pleasant, Burrell, Ligonier, and heading east, heading towards Johnstown, East Wheatfield, Summerhill. It's heading in that direction, so be mindful of that. And like I said, in Connellsville, Scottsdale, I'm reading off these areas that are having issues. And the reason why I'm doing that is because, like I mentioned, it's like a line of storms. This is not Blairsville's another one. Black Lick, going towards New Florence, Hillsview. Delmont's still in a region of consideration. The issue basically is this, you all. It's a line of storms that's just going, it looks like it's just going west to east. So if you have relatives that live in, let's say, Penn Hills, and they say, hey, it was pretty bad not that long ago, and you live in Westmoreland County, it's coming. It's coming straight west to east. Some of these storms sometimes kind of will clip the top of our region or clip the bottom of our region. It's a little different. So just be mindful of it coming through. In the meanwhile, 866-391-1020, I'm going to continue to try to get more information on these storms. Going through the different areas, it looks as though we're going to have a severe thunderstorm watch until 8 p.m. for the region, particularly here in Allegheny County, Armstrong County, and the like. The flash flooding, like we said, we just reported that that's going to be until 7:15 down in Washington County. I will keep an eye on this. Stick around here. Of course, the phone lines are open, 866-391-1020. I'll get back to you after the break here on News Radio KDKA.
Every Tuesday morning at 7:20, listen for Inside Independence Health, a look at all things healthcare with the experts from Independence Health System. It's brought to you by Independence Health System. Expert care here.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today.
Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Your sales team has the talent. They've got the tools. They don't have time to close the deals you need to win unless they have sales with AI. SAILES.com. Sales.com.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
866-391-1020. 866-391-1020. Willing to go any place you want to go with the conversation. I know, and let me just say this. I know that some of you might be like, man, you've been talking about that book a lot. Well, yeah, I've been talking about this book a lot. One, it's a national release. Two, there's not a lot of national releases from this region. Three, like I told you, I said at the beginning of the show, I'm going to be a little cathartic with all this because it's been a rush of things. What am I supposed to do? There's a lot of stuff I could talk about with current events that I can literally just regurgitate everything else that's been happening. Or I can share something a little different that doesn't happen around here very often, which is a news radio KDKA host sits down with Major Garrett and talks about a Pittsburgh-based story for 25 minutes. An African-American moderate from Allegheny County sits down with the Reagan Library and talks about his story and his perspectives on making the region and the country better for 45 minutes. I mean, there's value in it. So I'm trying to less brag about the book, but more talk about, man, this has been a very unique perspective. I'm a lot more like you than it may seem. Again, I write about it in the book, a Venn diagram of one. My parents went to Westinghouse. My parents didn't go to, Kiski Prep and Shadyside Academy. I went to Shadyside Academy on a scholarship. My dad was a computer technician. He was not running Honeywell. Professional and, employed, paid the bills, was a good man, is a good man. He's 84 years old. My mother was a good woman. Love her dearly. Great mom, great community member. Miss Carol, people love her. They loved her in North Carolina before she passed away in 2006. So there's value to that. I am more like you than it may seem, which is why, one of the reasons why I wrote the book. Again, ebook, audiobook, you can download it immediately. If you want the hardcover and you're that type of person, you can go to Barnes & Noble online. You can go to Amazon online. You can go to Target online. You can go to Walmart online. You can go to Books A Million. They'll get you the book. There are some stores in the Pittsburgh region and other regions around the country that are getting the books into the store now. Book launch was Tuesday, August 11th. In the meanwhile, 866-391-1020, going to Cynthia in Florida. Cynthia, you were on KDKA.
Hi. Chris Moore said, if you don't toot your own horn, nobody else will. So I haven't purchased the book yet. I told you where I wanted to buy it, and so I'll wait. But I want to congratulate you. And based on what I've read about what you're writing, and it goes to what I said, we're not going to rise together, we're going to fall together. Now, my opinions on how we rise are probably different from yours. But anyway, I just wanted to say that very quickly to you. I haven't been able to listen much, but congratulations. And that you praised your wife. She held you up, and you're holding her up. I love that. I love it.
Cynthia, one of the things I have mentioned, first of all, condolences to you and your family. I know that you're going through some things, and just know that I've heard we got you in prayer, and we love you. And I appreciate you calling in. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that first and foremost, aside from anything else you're talking about. Second of all,
I appreciate it.
It's all good. One of the things that I talk about in the interviews is the fact that the book is a love story. And people may think, civic love story. Okay, that's great. Yeah, okay, you could talk about that. But it's also a love story about, you don't get a chance to hear too many stories about young black people, Gen Xers, sticking together through hardships and being there for each other and overcoming. And so I know that there are people that hear me talk a lot about my lovely wife and say, man, you talk about your wife a lot. And it's like, yeah, because there's not a lot of, African-American women get dogged out and they get left behind. They are the ones that, they are disproportionately more inclined to go through domestic violence, go through sexual assault, go through rape, go through broken families, go through child abuse, everything else. And we will talk about those statistics and then blame them for going through the statistics like they did all those things to themselves. So to sit there and say, here's a black woman that overcame that I love, that is still gorgeous, that is still intelligent, that is still talented, that I love and cherish not just as my best friend and not just as my soulmate, but as a black woman, as a feminine woman, which, by the way, as well as I do, they defeminize black women disproportionately versus other women. So part of what I wanted to do in my book was to say, no, on top of everything else, she is 100% a woman. She doesn't have to, she's my equal, and she's smarter than me, but it doesn't mean that she's manly in some kind of weird way. No, she is one heck of a woman, and part of what I do in that book is I want to edify that in her. I wanted to edify that in my mother, and I wanted to talk about those stories that people don't talk about when it comes to women being discriminated against and black women being discriminated against. And people aren't expecting that in a Venn diagram of one. They're expecting Lenny McAllister, the black Republican, to talk about being a black Republican. That book is much more than that, which is why I ask people to go buy it and read it and share it, because it's more about a reflection of all of us from different perspectives than just politics.
Well, my father, I told you before, he was a freedom rider. And one of the times he came back, he gave me a book about Ella Baker. And he said black women in the civil rights movement didn't get the credit they needed. And I had been looking for that book. And one of my friends called me. She said my mother gave her that book years ago. And I said, well, when I see you at the memorial services, I want it back. And she will give it back. But I couldn't figure out, where did my book go?
Dig that.
But again, thank you. And congratulations. And thank you for your condolences.
Cynthia, I do appreciate it, and hopefully you'll get an opportunity to get a chance to get the book. And even if you get an audiobook, the thing about getting an audiobook, everybody, is the fact that I did the audiobook here at the News Radio KDKA studios, or the Odyssey studios here in Pittsburgh. So it's my voice, my words, my emotion into the book. I've had multiple people that I know that have heard the book and they have said, I forgot that it was you listening to it. I've had people that have reached out to me and said, we've been friends for years, so I remember this happening in our lives, but listening to you read it feels very different than it was when we lived through it 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago. And that resonates with me as well. So when I come back after the break, 866-391-1020, I will continue to take phone calls. I'll go where you want to go. I got to admit, I don't have much of a show prepared this week. My week this time last week started with an article, an adaptation of a chapter from the book, A Venn Diagram of One, in the New York Post, which is one of the largest circulated papers in the United States. I ended my week here on News Radio KDKA with John and Rachel last night. And prior to that, again, at Fairfield Inn in Bedford, Pennsylvania, doing MS Now. And prior to that, and prior to that, and prior to that. It's been a week. I'll go wherever you want with the conversation. But I got to admit, I'm trying to just kind of process on the air something that is a unique experience. So just give me grace. Chat with me, 866-391-1020. But do that after the news here on News Radio KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
President of Point Park University, Chris Purcellus, and the mayor of Bradenton, Florida, Gene Brown.
I think it's an incredible opportunity for us to consider another location in Bradenton, Florida.
Genius. I love this. You're going to be forced to come to Pittsburgh more, Mayor. And Chris, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go to Florida more.
Weekday mornings 5:30 to 10 on the Voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Tune in this Sunday morning at 8 for the Coons Cooking Hour with Rob Pratt and the Coons Market Team when they discuss favorite potato and sweet potato recipes. It's the Coons Cooking Hour presented by Coons Market, your hometown Pittsburgh grocer.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA, covered by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company.
At Habitat for Humanity, we believe home is where you find peace, stability, and safety. But 1 in 3 people on Earth woke up today without a good home. Let's open the door to opportunity. Visit Habitat.org to learn more. That's Habitat.org.
You wanted to be cool, which led you to smoking, which led to a pack a day. Then you met that special someone, which led to starting a life with them, which led to wanting to live longer, which led to quitting. Then you heard you may be at risk for lung cancer, which led you to getting a low-dose CT scan. If you smoked, get scanned. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
KDKA and KDKA FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
From ABC News, I'm Mike Dubusky. Admiral Brad Cooper, after a visit to the USS Abraham Lincoln yesterday, now says what he saw aboard that aircraft and carrier was awe-inspiring, and that reports of poor living conditions are old news. It comes after military officials said a small number of service members on the ship have received mental health treatment. The USS Abraham Lincoln hasn't made port in more than 200 days. ABC's Jay O'Brien says Democrats are now calling for an investigation.
We know that it's an issue for Democrats up on the Hill. It's something that they want to do oversight on. I think the interesting dynamic of this carrier is that it comes during a recess. And so there are members of Congress, Republican members of Congress, who are typically pro-military. Often we come to them on military issues that have not been forced to have to discuss this. The chairman of the Armed Services Committees in both the House and the Senate, for example, the chairman of the Intelligence Committees. And so this issue, I expect, unless the carrier gets swapped out before they return, is still going to be potent. I'm looking to see what they say.
The foreign ministers of 8 countries are now out with a joint statement condemning Israel's rejection of the 15-point Gaza peace plan proposed by President Trump's Board of Peace. Now, 2 Israeli sources tell ABC News Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, is going to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tomorrow. Severe weather continues to hammer parts of Hawaii as Tropical Storm Lala passes south of the island of Kauai. ABC News meteorologist Leslie Lopez.
Most of the threat for the Big Island is over, most of it. However, we could still see, after it rains, we could still see mudslides and debris flows, even though it's not actively raining. The soil is just so saturated and soft. So while most of the rain threat is over in terms of flooding, some of that is going to start to recede. Now we still have to worry about mudslides and also landslides. Now there are flash flood warnings out towards some of the island chain. Honolulu's in there. Tropical storm warnings as well for the rest of the island chain.
You're listening to ABC News.
In a recent survey of 123,000 wireless customers, Pure Talk was the only wireless company to receive 5 stars in every category: coverage, support, value, and data. What else do you need to know? Switch to Pure Talk today and get any plan, including their top shelf unlimited data plan, for just $15 a month for your first 3 months. No contract, no commitment. Dial pound 250, say micro, and let Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team help you make the switch.
These days, heading back to school means more than pencils and notebooks. It means laptops, tablets, online accounts, and a lot of personal information moving across the internet. WebRoot Total Protection gives families powerful online defense tools with antivirus, VPN, cloud backup, identity protection, and more, helping keep your digital life secure throughout the school year and beyond. Go to webroot.com/radio and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/radio for 60% off. Live a better digital life with WebRoot, because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
When you're at
Opening
my
arguments
level,
are
you
expected
even
to begin-
spell sales differently. SAILES. Now, I've closed enough deals to know a couple things. Hustle takes breaks. Infrastructure doesn't. The best sales teams don't wake up wondering where pipeline will come from. It's always working, quietly, in the background. Sales AI is pipeline as infrastructure, always on, like a power grid running under your reps. Start today at SAILES.com.
Pittsburgh, are you ready to relive the magic? Almost Queen. A tribute to Queen is taking the stage at Rivers Casino on Friday, September 18th. Experience the look, the power, and all the legendary hits all in one place. From Bohemian Rhapsody to Another One Bites the Dust, you'll be dancing all night long. Visit riverscasino.com for tickets and don't miss Almost Queen, a tribute to Queen, live. We'll see you there.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Clouds, a breaks of sunshine and humid this afternoon with a couple of drenching thunderstorms. Could produce some flooding downpours and damaging wind gusts, high 81. Still a couple of showers and thunderstorms around tonight, low 72. For AccuWeather, I'm meteorologist Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, let me go back to this phone lines, 866-391-1020. Luciano, you're on KDK.
Yes, Lenny, thank you for taking my call. I have two questions. Baptized Catholic, went to Catholic school, almost 8 years. Actually, I went to confession yesterday. But let me ask you this, and I think you'll give me a direct question. This week, 10 states, I'll name them. New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont, and I think it was California. 10 states passed this abortion bill. That means that it's approved in those 10 states that the woman can have an abortion at any stage of her conception. That means up to the very end, up to 8 to 9 months. What is your opinion about that? And are you pro-life?
But you know the answer to those questions, Luciano.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, Luciano,
I'm being honest.
Okay, so
Go ahead, please.
I will remind you. You don't have to be quiet. It's all good. I will remind you then, because I've said this more than once and more than twice. I'm very much a pro-life. I'm pro-life. I don't agree with the direction of the law. I have talked about my efforts to reduce abortions in America, less on laws like this. Obviously, I've talked about this. How do you help people not make those type of decisions by way of different ways of engaging people, not just women? That's the other thing. You know, people that are pro-life feel like the only way you can really be pro-life is you engage the woman as if she did it by herself. So, no, I don't agree with the law. I am pro-life.
Okay, as you know, there's a split in the Catholic Church. There's very progressive liberal that support abortion, just like the Baptist, Methodist, Lutheran. There's a split on them when it comes to abortion. So you are a conservative. Can I say a conservative Catholic?
I mean,
or you're a progressive, a liberal Catholic?
I mean, I just answered you. I would.
Well, I've been around liberal Catholics, and they think anything goes.
Well,
you know?
I mean. Well, I just answered your question as far as being pro-life, but
okay.
I mean, if you talk about conservative, versus progressive Catholic, I mean, there are people that would say that conservative Catholicism means that the man is the head of the household, he's number one, it's unchallenged, and that the woman should acquiesce to the whims of the man every single time when it comes to whatever the decision making comes. I believe that marriage is in the reflection of God, so you are equals. I mean, it says let us make them in our image, which I think means that there is a balance within God that both reflects the divinity of the mother, but also the divinity of the father. Therefore, when you're coming together as one, if you're truly one with man and wife, how can you truly be one and then have one part of one be more equal or more authoritative than other parts of one? One would consider that being progressive.
So you consider yourself an Orthodox Catholic, a conservative Orthodox traditional Catholic that's been around for about 1,500 years. So you are considered Orthodox or conservative. I just want to be sure, please.
You didn't hear any. Luciana, you're not listening to what I
heard you completely,
No,
Lenny.
you didn't.
I speak good English.
Luciana, because if you heard me, I told you that there are people that are Orthodox in their Catholicism and even in their Christianity and in their Muslim faith that would literally say that the man is number one in all things and the woman is subservient to the man. I don't subscribe to that. I think that would make me more progressive. I would think, according to some people.
Oh my. Okay. But do you believe in traditional Orthodox marriage? That's my last question. I don't want to put you on the spot. You know what I mean by conservative Orthodox Catholic, historical fact about marriage.
Do I? I mean, I appreciate your call. Are you saying that I believe in one man and one woman at one time? I mean, yeah, but that's not new either. So, appreciate your call. Yeah, I believe in women being equal to men, including in marriages. I don't believe in shut up, woman. I'm the head of this household. I mean. It says Christ love your wife like Christ loved the church. Christ laid his life down for the church. There was a certain special type of love. Christ was washing feet. Christ was saying, be like this little child. So just putting that out there. Sometimes we think from an orthodoxy perspective that, being manly is, pounding the table and raising your voice. Strength is not loud. In fact, more often than not, when you're loud, you're probably not projecting from a place of strength anyway. But we can get into that later. Anywho, appreciate your call. 866-391-1020. Will in Westview, you're on KDKA.
That I was going to say something before this, but maybe we can get to that. But the gentleman before called. So let me ask you this question. But so everybody is an equal. You could say in the eyes of God, but when you have interactions with other people, they're not equal. There are people that have authoritative positions, just like if you go to work. If you have, any interaction, someone always has leverage one way or the other. I fundamentally don't believe that. I mean, it sounds good, but it just doesn't, that's not how people, really interact. If everything was all equal,
in marriages?
That's not how it works.
We're talking about in marriages, though. It was specifically within the confines of a marriage.
It doesn't matter. Why would a marriage be different than any other interaction you have with someone else?
Because because the reason why, Will, is that's how it's going to survive. It doesn't mean that you have an equal platform in every scenario. It doesn't mean that you can have an equal perspective in every scenario or equal knowledge or equal action or anything else along those lines. But what we're talking about is fundamentally, where do we sit? That's what we're talking about. And we're not talking about society. We're specifically talking about within the confines of a marriage.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. From my perspective on things, I'll just tell you straight up. I've never been married, and it's something I'm not interested in.
Okay.
But if you get married, you're inviting the government in your relationship.
Are you?
So that's already
Are you?
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you do.
No,
because
you don't.
If you go sign the. Yeah, you do. You got to go on. Listen, there is no God in when it comes to going to the judge and the bailiff. When you go visit them and someone says they want to get divorced, there's no God. No one's going to consult the priest or anybody else.
People do that. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true, Will. People that get divorced do oftentimes the first place they go is they go to consult the people of the cloth within their faith to try to reconcile the situation. in regards to in regards to where you're trying to go, in regards to you're inviting the government into your relationship. No, you're acknowledging a legal covenant from a secular perspective, but again, as a Catholic, you believe that marriage is a sacrament, and as a result, there's a different authority that is guiding that relationship, and therefore there are different laws that supersede the secular laws of which you're abiding by making sure you get a marriage license to be acknowledged.
That's not the one that's not the one that's going to take your house and home and split all the stuff up half, or whatever way the state you live in. That's not how it works, man.
If you get whoa, you're already past you're past the point of failure with the marriage and into the divorce. I'm still talking about the marriage working. So we're not even talking about the same things.
So listen, if you have to go to counseling, it's going to fail to begin with.
You got us in counseling, Will. That's my point. I'm still in the marriage working. You got us to counseling, and you got us divorced.
It doesn't work. You're going to end up in front of the judge and the bailiff and family court. You know what's interesting is you have criminal court and family court. They're two separate systems. You know what they should do with everybody, male and female. They should make you go to family court and watch it for a day, and actually see what happens when someone says, "I'm not happy anymore." And a lot of divorces, a majority of them are driven by money. And that's wrong to begin with, because that's not the deal you make up front. When you get married, it is duty to one and the other. I know that much. I'm not religious.
I concur with that. I've lived that. I literally wrote about that in my book, as a matter of fact. And,
I haven't read your book.
Well, I get that, but my point is, I'm not just saying those things. I'm living those things. I'm professing those things. I'm doing those things. And by the way, I've been married for 24 years, and I've been happy during those 24 years.
Well, but I'll tell you, that's another thing too. What does happiness have to do with any of it, though?
A lot.
Like happiness is just a feeling, and it's temporary.
No, it's a no. And I say this, no offense, but I say this as somebody that's been married for 24 years versus somebody that's been married 0 years. Happiness is a state of mind. It is a state of being. It is more than just a fleeting emotion. It is not glee. It is a state of being. And happiness, you can be happy and have an unhappy day.
Sure you can, yeah. But now I have to worry how happy, or you could look at it the other, husband or wife, whatever, how happy the other person is all the time. It just doesn't make it doesn't make sense to me. But I'm looking at it through the eyes of a single person. I love by the way, just for the record, I love the logic of being married, being a couple, raising a family. And at least in Western culture, specifically here, we've really gotten away from those things in a lot of different ways. But I'm just saying, someone could pull the divorce whipcord and you're done, one way or the other. And you could tell a lot of guys to call up, and they went through the whole process, and women too, to a lesser degree. And it has been a brutal process for them. God bless you that you have had a good life with a good wife, and it sounds like everything you've said, super great kids, but that's not the way society's working out. And I'll just go back and say again, someone wants to pull the divorce whipcord, you end up in front of the judge and the bailiff, and you're in family court, and there are two different court systems for this.
And Will, I appreciate you calling. I got to go to break. I appreciate what you're saying. Appreciate you calling in. But love involves vulnerability. It always involves vulnerability. Your friendships involve vulnerability. Going to work, you are trusting that somebody's going to pay you in 2 weeks. They cannot pay you in 2 weeks. You can go to court, you can eventually get your money, but if it takes you 6 weeks to get your money when you're expecting it in 2 weeks, you might have a problem with your bill collectors. You might have a problem with your mortgage. You might have a problem with buying groceries. There is trust in everything in society. And it's internally rewarding to do it in a marriage with the right person, but you got to have the right person. I understand what you're saying, but the bottom line is, as somebody that has both, by the way, done it and not been successful, done it and has been successful, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, the essence of life is taking those risks. And it's just going to be amplified in love. But life is nothing but risk and reward. Business, career, or love. 866-391-1020. Getting back to the phones after this on News Radio KDKA.
News, weather, traffic, and business every day. Hear it on News Radio KDKA.
When the power goes out, your life is disrupted. Heat, air conditioning, refrigeration, phones, all gone. Be prepared for the next outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Power your life with a Generac home standby generator.
Generator Supercenter of Pittsburgh clients have electricity. Visit Generator Supercenter of Pittsburgh, 1519 West Liberty Avenue. Call 412-947-4472.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit cordellcordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
Get connected. That's the Inside Connection this Saturday morning at 9 with your local Medicare experts from MediConnect. If you're turning 65, hear all the inside information available to seniors on the Inside Connection, presented by MediConnect. Medicare made simple.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Listen to KDKA Radio on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps.
Hear about it, then talk about it. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
What a song to come back to. I'm Only Human by the Human League after talking about marriage. This is, by the way, Human by the Human League is a song about two people that broke up that got back together that admitted, yeah, I fooled around with other people before we got back together. And they both admit to it. I think Ryan did that on purpose. I think Ryan's punking me. I think that's what he did that for. That's why they get the big bucks. That's why these producers here they make the major money, because they know, how can I best tie into that last call? Oh, wait, I'll play Human by the Human League. And I will emphasize the point from the previous caller that, yes, everybody's a skank. There is no such thing as happiness. I don't think Will was saying that. I'm not saying that. Anyhow. 866-391-1020. Going back to the phones. Going to Anthony in Oakland. You're on KDK.
You know, I am a little tired of these state attorney generals who are trying to pull a fast one like they did with suing cigarette manufacturers, and now they're going after the tech company because supposedly they're torturing the minds of children. Well, the adults buy the children the phone. The adults should be the oversight of what's going on with the children and the phone, period. So this is another money-making venture. I'm sick of this nonsense where, especially Republicans who always like to say personal responsibility. Well, it's the adult's responsibility who's paying for the phone to take out what they deem inappropriate. So, I mean, it just makes me sick. So since I'm talking about the Internet, you know what makes me even more sick of the Internet? If you're stupid, you just become more stupid if you go on the Internet. And here's why. because I am so sick and tired of people not understanding civics and every other venture that has made this country. You know, here's what they don't understand. When you're driving, okay, it's not a right to drive. It's a privilege. Every commonwealth, every state, if a police officers or sheriff or say we pull you over, you have to, repeat, have to give them your insurance, your owner's card, and your driver's license. That's it. I'm tired of seeing these people go to jail for, they're calling themselves Sawbridge citizens and all kind of other nonsense. Now everybody's a Perry Mason, and they don't understand civics and the law.
No. You're right, Anthony. I appreciate your call. The one thing about social media is the fact that everybody feels like they got it figured out. And unfortunately, the other thing that the social media phenomenon has created is there's no such thing as kind of like common ground. It's like everything is us versus them. Everything is us versus them. Police officer pulled me over. Here come the fuzz. Here comes the man oppressing me. Not, you just kind of ran a light. Not, just maybe you didn't see that stop sign behind the tree limbs. It's an opportunity to be oppressed. Or whatever the case may be. And as a result, everybody has a slick way that they got to get on film. Not film. They got to get on video to be able to show you how smart they are, how slick they are, whatever the case may be. Oi. I get it. Appreciate your call. I understand your frustration. 866-391-1020. Going to Carrie in Penn Hills. Carrie, you're on KDK. Carrie once. Carrie twice. Carrie, I'll get back to you. Call back. And I wanted to hear what Carrie had to say because Carrie was going to talk about commitment. And I wanted to hear what she had to say based on what transpired. But anywho. 866-391-1020. Ron in the Cackalack. You're on KDK.
Yeah, I used to call this a little time. But the thing is, recently with all these fires, forest fires, where they spray glyphosate on the ground to kill the shrubs there and bring them down. Well, all this does is add to the kindling on the ground. And then when there's a fire, going back to Reagan, when he supported the fact that when there's destruction in these forests, that they could bring in the lumber industry to clear the area and replant lumber products. Now, how much of this glyphosate that's being sprayed, how much ground coverage is building on the kindling on the ground? That the forest fires come in, and then the lumber industry can come in thereafter by contract and take over that land, clear it out, build their farming industry, which is a tremendous profit mode for them. And then we're not considering at all that beyond that profit mode is the destruction of coming generations because the glyphosate, minimally, the dioxins that are created in the forest fires, they body burden like mother's milk, and they're transgenerational transfer to the offspring. How much industry is out there affecting the next generation? When Make America Healthy Again comes out with a report, at this administration's report, that 40% of children between the age of birth and 17 years old will come out with a chronic disease, which could include cancers and other such disease. Why are we therefore perpetrating by building the kindling to the degree for hotter fires that will consume a tree and then build a firestorm and spread that over? These firestorms in Canada, in the U.S., and around the world are being built up. How much of this kind of product that we kill the shrubs, but when you kill the shrubs, all you have is kindling. And then you build that fire, then you affect the population, the current population, and their offspring.
Ron, I appreciate your phone call. I'm heading up against a break. Thank you for raising your concern with that. I'll get to Carrie. Thank you for calling back, Carrie. I'll get to others on the other side of the news here on News Radio KDK.
Time to get that painting project done that you've been putting off by calling CertaPro Painters. Hi, this is Larry Richard. My first experience more than a decade ago started with a free estimate. They got that done quickly and left the place beautifully cleaned up after a great professional job. And each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. That makes all the difference in the world. You're talking to the owner. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. The Pittsburgh Speaker Series at Heinz Hall, presented by University of Pittsburgh, announces its 26-27 season. 7 evenings to deepen your understanding of the world around you, featuring Anderson Cooper, former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, historian Anne Applebaum, financial journalist Andrew Ross Sorkin, and former NASA Administrator Charles Bolden. The series is sponsored by News Radio KDKA and the Spanos Group of Raymond James. Tickets on sale now at pittsburghspeakers.org.
Here's the latest from the KDKA Community Message Board.
Experience Pittsburgh Earth Day's signature event. The 11th annual Ecolution Fashion Gala comes to the Pennsylvanian Wednesday, September 30th. See stunning wearable art inspired by pop couture, fashion fame, and obsession. Tickets on sale now at pittsburghearthday.org/ecolution. NASCO Roofing takes pride in exceeding customers' expectations. If the recent storms caused you damage, get NASCO on your roof and see why they've satisfied thousands of customers. Call 412-373-2000 for NASCO Roofing. Experience the best of Italian-American cuisine at Martirano's Prime at Rivers Casino. Whether you're celebrating a special occasion or stopping in after the game, they have you covered. From veal chops to steaks to a variety of pasta dishes, you'll never leave hungry. Visit riverscasino.com to book your reservation today.
Details at KDKARadio.com.
If you dread dealing with your insurance more than you dread build-it-yourself furniture, with extremely vague instructions.
What are these? Hieroglyphics?
Then you might have Insuranoia. You should have NJM Insurance. They go to great lengths to do what's best for their policyholders.
Mommy, how come I can't sit in the front seat?
Because I love you and you're just not ready yet.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at NHTSA.gov/the-right-seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The source you trust for news and information that matters. News Radio, KDKA. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
I'm Mike Dabowski. Military officials, including Admiral Brad Cooper, are pushing back on reports of poor living conditions aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln, which hasn't been into port in more than 200 days. At least 7 people are now confirmed dead in Indiana after days of severe rain leading to flooding. Mayor Chris Jensen of hard-hit Noblesville said many residents have been displaced.
We have numerous hotels and public facilities. So when we talk about sheltering, we're sheltering those in locations that already are established as they meet health code, they have bathrooms, they have privacy, they have bedding, they have food sources nearby.
Hawaii's Governor Josh Green now says the Big Island sustained the most damage after a close brush with Hurricane Lala this weekend. Some residents have been left without a home there.
100 houses or more are damaged and lost. Thank God it appears that no one died.
Lala has since been downgraded into a tropical storm. This is ABC News.
Enjoy the great summer savings at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, USDA Choice Boneless New York Strip Steaks, $9.99 a pound. In the produce department, Jumbo Cantaloupes are 2 for $4. In our deli, 8-piece rotisserie seasoned baked chickens, $7.99 each. Additional savings this week, selective varieties of Turkey Hill drinks or tea. Gallon jugs, 2 for $5.
It's happening now at Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Your line just went down. Production stopped. A supervisor wants answers. And someone's digging through a binder for the maintenance history. Every one of those minutes costs money. And most of the time, that breakdown could have been prevented. That's where Maintain X comes in.
Maintain X catches the failure before it happens. Preventive maintenance plans on every key asset to improve reliability. Work orders assigned and tracked right from your phone. Everyone from the floor to the front office is in the loop. Real-time dashboards give managers instant visibility into what's been completed, what's overdue, and where the bottlenecks are. No more guesswork. Just a smarter, faster maintenance operation. Companies on Maintain X have cut unplanned downtime by over 30% and saved thousands on parts and labor every year. See what it can do for your operation. Try Maintain X free at maintainx.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Clouds will break for some sun at times this afternoon. We'll have a couple of heavy thunderstorms. It will be humid, a high of 81. Some of the storms could produce flooding downpours and locally damaging winds. Still a couple of showers and storms tonight, low 72. For AccuWeather, I'm Brian Thompson, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
All right, let me go back and get back to these phone lines. 866-391-1020. First of all, let me apologize to Carrie. Carrie's a dude, not a lady. But I'm going to Carrie either way. Carrie, you're on KDK.
Hey, Lenny, how are you, sir?
I am doing well, kind sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, I always enjoy listening. I had to call in with that gentleman talking about marriage. I'm 59 years old, and I just got married for a second time within the last 60 days.
Okay. Congratulations.
Now, that's coming from... Thank you. Appreciate you. That's coming from a guy who was married for 17 years and then divorced for 12. The attitudes expressed by that gentleman tells me why he's not married. Marriage is you will get exactly out of it what you put into it. If you go into it thinking that it's going to be your way all the time, like this guy did the first time around, it flames out terribly. I'm a guy who comes from a team sports background. I tell my current wife she's the best teammate I have ever had, and I got a couple of championship rings. So anybody who doesn't think that a union between two people can be beneficial and can't bring happiness, or happiness is something trivial, homeboy, I challenge you to live a little more life, because my wife brings something to my life that nobody else ever has. Thank you for listening.
I have nothing to add to that. I think it's on point. And I want you to hear something that Carrie said. He admitted his own fault in Act 1 and what it meant for what he had to do for Act 2. There's nothing I can add to that. It's kind of funny the way he kind of did the whole radio thing. The views expressed by the caller here. He literally sounded like our PSA disclaimer announcement. I thought I was like, well, yeah, that's about right too. Thank you, Carrie. Hat tip for saying what you said. Well, I didn't say it. Doesn't mean I didn't think it, but I didn't say it. 866-391-1020. Like I said at the beginning of the show or earlier in the show, a little bit of normalcy amid a very uncommon and abnormal week for me. Maybe that's the reason why I'm laughing. David in San Francisco, you're on KDK.
Oh, thanks, Lenny. Yeah, I kind of missed the tail of Ron, also calling from out here in California. Yeah, I don't know if you know it, but these wildfires up there in Washington State has a whole bunch of MAGA in it. And the section of Washington State that is lumber industry tends to be MAGA, and it's been burning now for like 3 weeks. 3 weeks. All of the millions of dollars worth of lumber, trees, is being damaged, and Trump has refused to send aid to stop the fire. Just because he says that that's a blue state, then everybody deserves to die. And so they've been sitting and choking smoke now for 3 weeks while that prick stops.
You can't do that, David. Gosh, you can't say those words. Sheesh, man. Holy moly. I was even going to let you say that he just said that they deserve to die, which Donald Trump did not say. You're in a blue state, you deserve to die. I will give you the rhetorical, the, implied. I gave you the editorial leeway, and then you kind of started going to words you can't use on the radio. Oi, come on, y'all. Still on my game, though. Told you it was an unusual week, but I caught that one very fast. That said, 866-391-1020. I'll go other places with you if you want. If you want to go back into that, that's fine. I did admit I didn't have much of a show planned this week. It's been a very unique week. And even this upcoming week. I might be doing a national show coming up later on. I will be doing the podcast with Newt Gingrich. We record that tomorrow morning. I'll be on the Big K Morning Show, I think, but I'll have to do that via phone. I will be on Friday. I completely forgot about this. So the New Pittsburgh Courier is doing a article on the book, and it will be published a week from this upcoming Wednesday. The Men of Excellence Award Dinner is coming up on Friday, August 21st. Hopefully you got your tickets. I think they have closed out selling tickets for the award dinner. And again, the really cool thing about that is less about me winning an award, but more about the fact that the lifetime honoree of the dinner on Friday is going to be the one and only the Moore of Pittsburgh, Mr. Chris Moore. So make sure if you don't have tickets, try to squeeze in there and see if you can buy your ticket. Men of Excellence Award, the New Pittsburgh Courier, class of 2026. They will be awarding the men of the class of 2026. I have the honor of being one of those awardees. So if you do have a physical copy of the book and you do want an inscription, come down. I'll be glad to do that. And, of course, we get to celebrate Mr. Moore. So that's always a cool thing as well. But we'll be finishing up the article with the New Pittsburgh Courier. There's an article coming out that is either out already or is coming out with the Minnesota Spokesman Recorder, another African-American newspaper that is the obviously biggest African-American newspaper in the state of Minnesota. It's historic. It's been up there for a long time as well. I bring all these things up, again, less to brag about the book. Yeah, I want everybody to buy the book, obviously. Ebook, audiobook, hardcover, Venn diagram of one. Go online to Barnes & Noble. Go online to Amazon. You can go in a store. If they don't have it in a store, you can go online, or you can have them order it for you. They'll get it into the store. It's in their system. It's been in their system for weeks. And the launch date was Tuesday. But I bring it up more so because, one, as I mentioned during interviews, this is a Pittsburgh story. This is from the perspective of an African-American family from Pittsburgh with a perspective on society. Number two, in regards directly to the Men of Excellence dinner, it's going to be really good to see Mr. Moore again. I know that many of you all that have been calling in here over the years at 866-391-1020 have missed Mr. Moore being on the air. I have missed seeing him. Usually, this is his hour, right? So he would do his 5 to 9. which means I would do 2 to 5. So I would always see him coming in the studio. We'd always do the crosstalk before. He would take the airwaves at 5, and then I'd have a chance to listen to him on the way home. And I still do miss it. I will just be very honest with you about that. He's a guy that was on our airwaves since 1980 here in Pittsburgh, not necessarily KDKA. He was on KDKA radio since the 90s, which in and of itself is 25 to 30 years. But he was a voice here in the Pittsburgh metropolitan area for what? How many decades is that? 5 decades, spanning 5 decades? That's impressive. I remember watching him on WQED. Many of us watched his work there. Then I had a chance to be a colleague of his where I was a guest on WQED, and he interviewed me. And by the way, another person that interviewed me on WQED that's also now a colleague is Michael Bartley. And so it's pretty cool to have the opportunity to work with people like that. But both of them interviewed me at QED over a decade ago. And then I also was a colleague of Mr. Moore's at the Pittsburgh Cable News Channel when he and I both had TV shows there. So for me to get my award on a day where Mr. Moore's also going to be honored is just, it's timely. It is humbling. I want to shout out Odyssey because Odyssey is sponsoring a table on behalf of Mr. Moore and me to celebrate both of us being named and being honored this upcoming Friday. And they didn't have to do that. So I just want to shout out SPAC, Michael Spacapoli, and PJ Kamanchik and Amy Mock and those that made that happen for Friday. Thank you very much for doing that. It'll give my family a chance to be there, give, loved ones a chance to see that celebration as well of all of us that are going to be there. In particular, like I said, Mr. Moore, it does resonate with me that I'll be there on his special day. So thank you to the wonderful people here at Odyssey, but also thank you to the New Pittsburgh Courier for making it happen. I'll wrap up the show. I'll take some more phone calls, 866-391-1020. Keep aware of the weather out there just because it seems like it's a little calmer now. Just be mindful through 8 o'clock this evening. But we'll talk a little bit more until the top of the hour here on News Radio KDKA.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKA-radio.com.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where supplies start at just 25 cents?
Staples has the latest laptops with up to 40% savings.
I may hug the cashier.
So embarrassing.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples with up to 40% off select tech. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Now, before I go back to the phone lines, 866-391-1020, I just got a text. I'm going to shout this person out. And it's the epitome of what a Venn diagram of one is. And again, ebook, audiobook, hardcover. It is available now. Go to Barnes & Noble. Go to Amazon. Go anywhere where books are sold. You can get the ebook and the audiobook immediately. If it's not in the stores, Barnes & Noble or elsewhere, ask for it. They can order it for you. I know that many people have been ordering the hardcover version of the book and been getting it within a day. That said, though, And I was mentioning this to a loved one earlier this week. Those that expect it to be a certain type of book would be disappointed. One of the examples of that is the fact that I talk about a friend of mine that I have enjoyed having a friendship with over the years. He's a member of the Nation of Islam. As I've mentioned, he's a member of the Nation of Islam. I'm a Catholic. There are going to be certain things we disagree upon, obviously based on our religion. But in America, you're supposed to be able to do that and not just push aside people. There are certain issues we're going to disagree on. There are certain issues we're going to agree on. Members of the Nation of Islam, by the way, are very conservative when it comes to economic viability, taking care of oneself. They look at the black community and they sound like just straight up secular conservatives. Look at how they dress. Look at how they value education, how they value business. But my point was, if I'm just trying to play to the right as a black conservative that hates the libs, there's no way I'm talking about my friendship. I literally talk about two ministers. One's a Christian minister and one's a minister of the Nation of Islam back to back in the introductory chapter. Why? Because this is America. And they're all American. And the essence of a Venn diagram of one as a nation is the fact that all these different people with all these different perspectives have to find a way to live together or else this country is doomed. So, again, shout out to him for A, texting me, telling me he's proud of me. I appreciate that. Number two, appreciate him and other members getting a Venn diagram of one. I appreciate them doing that as well. And my friendship with him, and there are others that people would look at and be like, I don't see how you can be friends with that person. I put a picture of Dr. Cornel West and I holding up my book. Dr. West is on the far left. He agrees with some of my positions in regards to how to approach culture and society and civics. He has since he met me in 2009. He obviously doesn't agree with every policy. He's definitely not a Republican. But we can find commonality on things that make sense for communities. That's the essence of America. That's the Venn diagram of one essence of America. That's also what I write about in the book. 866-391-1020. Roberta in Pittsburgh, you're on KDKA.
Oh, hi, Lenny. Thanks for taking my call. I wonder when you're going to be with Chris, if you could ask him to call in and let us know how he's doing. I miss him so much. I just love him.
I can do that. I will definitely talk to Mr. and Mrs. Moore. I've had a chance to get to know Mrs. Moore because she would come in the last little bit of his time here on KDK, so I would see her every week as well. I'm fairly certain she'll be there, so I have a chance to talk to both of them, and ideally there'll be opportunities to give updates.
When will this award be given?
Pardon me?
When will this award be given?
Friday night, the Men of Excellence Award. It will be at the New Pittsburgh Courier's annual dinner, and there are tickets still available. I think there are tickets still available. Let me say it like that. Go to the New Pittsburgh Courier, see if they still have tickets available. I do believe they were cutting off ticket sales on Friday, but there may still be a couple if you still wanted to go.
Okay. Well, I hope he will call in because he has so many fans.
Yes, he does. He is definitely beloved. I appreciate you calling in, and if you get a chance to get down there on Friday, hopefully you'll get a chance to take a picture with him.
Okay, thanks so much, Sonny.
God bless you, Roberta. You have a wonderful day. You be safe out there. Going back to the phone lines, Deacon in Dormont, you're on KDK.
Well, I hope you can hear me okay. I'm on the cell phone.
I can hear you, sir.
Some people are aware of this, but I just heard this, I think, again. Netanyahu's been funneling $135 million a month to Hamas. I believe it's through Kuwait or Qatar. I've forgotten now. They have him on tape admitting it under police interview in his fraud trial, I believe it is.
No, I can't hear you anymore. No,
Okay.
I didn't hear part of it. So go ahead, say it again.
Yeah, $135 million a month. He's been funneling to Hamas through Qatar or Kuwait, and they have him on tape. It was a police interview for one of his trials.
Who do they have on tape?
Bibi Netanyahu, and his own self admitted, telling him, "You can't say this. This can't get out." And of course, it got out. This is from a couple years ago, or a year or two ago. And it's actually been reported, and I heard it long story, but I heard it on NPR, and Megan Chuckabari's show.
Well, I didn't hear it, but I will tell you this. This is part of the rub that a lot of people have in regards to this whole situation with Iran, which is doing what's best for Israel as America is not the same as doing what's best for America and for global peace. They don't have to be the same because there are some objectives that will diverge. I mean, for example, can you keep Iran from not having a nuclear weapon without going and bombing Iran both last year and this year? There are those that would say, yes, there was a way of doing this. There will be others, including Israel, that would say, no, the only way you can do this is by trying to bomb that current administration out of control and out of power. And as a result, you have this conflicting view of what we should be doing from a foreign policy perspective that is still playing out now, that has impacted our economy, that has impacted our military, and has cost us lives.
That's really troubling because essentially that problem had been solved, and Trump decided to unsolve it and then go to war about it. 95% of the nuclear material had already been exited out of Iran, and due to the treaty that had been negotiated by not just us, but most of Europe as well, and he trashed it, and now we're in war, and God knows where this is going to end up.
And Deacon, I appreciate your phone call, and that's part of the rub with what's going on, right, is the fact that, and I've said this previously, I even said this on MS Now, this administration views power one way and not empowerment. Empowerment allows multiple people to have a stake in the game. I was talking about it domestically on MS Now on Friday, but it applies internationally as well. If the only way you see power playing out is by way of pounding the table and showing how quote-unquote strong you are through being loud and pounding the table, you're eventually going to break something that you can't fix. That seems to be playing out right now. I mentioned this at the Reagan Library. I mentioned this on Major Garrett. Peace through strength was the triangulation of different items that allowed us to be strong and get what we wanted from the Soviet Union in the 80s. Peace through strength can be a tactic that applies to Iran and other foes that we have internationally without losing military members, without risking our economy. If we don't see ourselves as Americans as diplomats and leaders that can do that, then we run the risk of endless wars. We run the risk of costing ourselves lives. We run the risk of breaking things we can't fix or fix so easily. And what we're seeing right now might be very much a part of it. That said, let me get out of here. Again, one final push. Thanks to everybody that supported the book, supported me along the way. Again, a Venn diagram of one. An American Story is out. Ebook, audiobook, hardcover, wherever books are sold. Ebook and audiobook is available immediately. I will be on the Big K Morning Show tomorrow, I believe via phone, possibly via VMix, because I do have to eventually do that podcast, Newt's World with Newt Gingrich. It should be out later on this week, but we record it tomorrow. So that will be another fascinating experience. In the meanwhile, I appreciate you all. I love you all. I appreciate your support. I will catch up to you soon. TCNGB. Take care and God bless. Peace.
The Big K Morning Show with Larry Richards.
President of Point Park University, Chris Purcell,